Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
We're going to teabag fight. Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
I tell you what, everybody, this is a show that I never thought I would have to do, much less would ever materialize on the Brewing Network airwaves, podcast airwaves. It's a show about hazy beer. We have a hazy beer producer not in studio yet, but they're coming. They're here. They're actively here.
Nice fun.
I feel like I don't know what I feel like. I feel weird about it because of all the things we've said about hazy beer. But you know what? I kind of think they just don't care.
Haven't the people asked us to stop talking about hazy beer?
They have, Warren. Thank you very much for bringing that up. They have. Let me blow my eardrums out for a second. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and then now we have this show.
Well, you're welcome, listeners.
Right.
We hear you.
It's the world-famous Bissell Brothers show, everybody, and I think you guys are going to have a good time. I think I might have a good time. I don't know. I'm excited, though, and I'm talking a mile a minute because I don't know where to go with the show in its entirety. This is something I'm not prepared for as a brewer, as a consumer.
Yes.
It would be like if I did a show on... I don't even know.
Quantum physics.
Right, or I was going to say selling shoes, but that's where I go.
Whiskey or something.
Right.
Close.
It's just something that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Other than I know I don't like it. I'm glad Eric just had to pop the door open for that. That was really helpful. I don't know anything about it. I know that I don't like it, and it's not for me, and I question the whole reality of why it's popular. But maybe that's what's going to make a great show, because these guys are good. So we have Noah and Hester. Thank you. I wanted to say Hermione, but my mind is scrambled right now.
Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous.
We're going to be done soon. I can tell. We're going fast.
Right. Yeah. So first break coming up, everybody. Right at you.
You may think you're listening to the show at 2x right now, but actually,
right. It's not.
It's not.
No, I had small claims court today. I talked about it on the last show.
Oh yeah, how'd that
go? It went weird.
Okay.
It went weird. I'll tell you about it in a second.
Small weird claims.
Yes.
Weird claims court.
Yes. So we have Noah and Hester Bissell. Noah, of course, is the co-founder and the head brewer. And then Hester is the general manager. And I don't know, are they married or are they brother and sister? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our favorite, Mike Sardina. our little pocket Moby lookalike. Man, he used to work at Societat. Yes, and then he probably moved across country to probably find a name that was easier to pronounce.
And he did it.
Bissell is fairly simple to do.
Yes.
So we have Mike Sardina back in the studio. He's always a good time.
He's peeking through the window right now.
Is he?
Oh, there he is.
He? Oh my God, he's handsome too.
Wow, he doesn't look much like Moby anymore.
No, but he has this whole farmer what is it called? Metro Jack.
Is that a thing?
Lumbersexual. There you go. Where it's just
yeah,
it's a thing.
You think its own Instagram account?
It's a thing. I never saw one.
You think he's done some deforestation?
Well, I think
he's been in Maine.
Yeah, once you move to the East Coast, man, you got to kind of your pants tighten, your plaid gets a little more there. You get a beard,
your shoes get all leathery.
I think so. Anyway, this mess is brought to you by More Beer. As always, each and every show brought to you by morebeer.com. They have absolutely everything for you to brew with, to make fabulous, wonderful beer at home. Make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. We talked about it before, of course, but they, I would have it here, but unfortunately it's not in my printout. But I do know that they have the Fermentosaurus conical that you can pressurize up to 35 psi, which is amazing because for years, honestly, working for them, we were trying to figure that out, and that's why people started fermenting in kegs.
Yeah.
You can pressurize them.
Yeah,
but they're not a great shape for fermentation.
Right.
So anyway, this is a thing. Someone solved this issue. So they have that. They have the Robo Brew, which is a one-step, all-in-one process for brewing. So check them out, morebeer.com. They're always innovating. They're always pushing the boundaries, and they're making everything that's really cool available to y'all out there.
I wish I had something pressurizable when I was homebrewing, as far as fermenters go.
Me too.
You're still homebrewing, though.
Yeah, but I don't use my... Okay, let's put it this way. I wish I used the thing that I have that's pressurizable for home brewing.
Oh,
but I just brew in a carboy.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, I feel like I'm Jameel right now. I went back to carboys. They're easier.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Until you lose a hand.
I got another one.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Back up.
The great Kim Shimke is here, although I'm not sure why.
So I could spread Christmas cheer.
Yes,
Kim.
Brought things.
You do it once a month.
Right.
Why are you here? What Christmas cheer did you bring? Because we're clearly lacking in that department.
Well, first off, since we're all friends now, I brought us friendship bracelets.
No. I'm sorry, friendship bracelets.
Are we ready to go to the next level? Wait a minute. I didn't. Are we ready for that? Huh?
I feel like I'm playing Stardew
Valley. You come on their train because we were friends.
That's right.
Casey and I were friends.
So we started.
And I'm pretty sure I have a Christmas card coming to me from Warren. So I think that's getting official.
I just asked your address. I didn't say what it was for.
So I can make sure 100%.
I haven't checked my mail yet either, so I shouldn't say anything.
Right. So we have friendship bracelets because it's 1984.
Yeah, they activate. So once we all put them on and put our arms together, the powers that be. I put them here and someone put them away because I know you don't want to actually wear them. But we're going to wear them.
Huh. Okay. And then what else did you...
For how long?
Did you write?
Indefinitely, Casey. Until the universe has it fall off.
All right.
The last time I was on, Warren said he had never had key lime, which blew my mind. And I found out just before I got in here, Bevo hadn't either.
Yeah.
So I brought key lime tart for us all to enjoy, which is also green, so it's kind of
Christmassy. What's the difference between a tart and a pie?
We found, guys.
You found the...
Yeah, I said I hadn't.
Friendship bracelets.
If you remember, I said I hadn't had key lime pie before,
and you still won't.
Well, you know what? Whole Foods only had a tart, and I am not scouring the entire Bay Area for you goons. So you're gonna take the damn tart and enjoy it.
First of all, it's Amazon. But what constitutes a tart over a pie? Because a tart, when Tasty was growing up, a tart is like a lady of the evening, I think, right? A tart, Tasty, tart.
Yeah, I've heard something like, or maybe a flirt or something, or.
A flirt, okay. Okay, so we're not talking... We don't even get to pick our own friendship bracelets. You're just dispensing them willy-nilly?
Wow. What a bossy friend.
Yeah, I'm picking mine. I'm picking my own. Give me the pile. Give me the pile.
Are they
you know
different?
what? There might be enough for everyone to have two.
Did you get this at Whole Foods, too?
Good, I could use two. I got two strings.
Yeah, so these are like... Folks at home, they look handmade, but I guarantee you they're not. But they're made out of string, and they're like woven together into just intricate... designs, but I feel like a kid in Peru made a penny off of each one of these.
Oh, it looks like we're all going to have to tie them on each other. This is like a shared experience.
And one,
my wrist is too big. You got an extra large?
And one's like raw.
You can have together. We're going to make this work.
Yeah, you can have two, Tasty, and then just tie them together.
You get twice the friendship.
And this is a pink one. See, you had a pink one, and you didn't tell me that. And there's like bright orange, and there's a bright green.
Whoa! How many friends are you expecting to have?
There's a dozen.
Not many.
Minus myself. There's 11. Enough for 11 friends.
All right. Well, I'm changing mine, Kim. I'm picking this pink one because if you can't wear pink, then you're not a real man.
Wait, are you saying Kim doesn't know you because she gave you the bracelet that matched you?
I've been trying to say that forever, but she just refuses. Oh, they're from Oriental Trading Company. Really? Woven friendship bracelets made in India. Oh, it's close. Peru, India, same thing.
Oh, right. It's a country.
If you guys want to play along, be friends with Kim. Go to orientaltrading.com and order item number 24/506, PO number 1124739. A dozen.
Amazon Prime, we can all be twinsies, which you and I actually are. So, see, the universe, we have this connection, you and I.
We sure do.
Wow. Does that make you besties and I'm just a friend?
No.
I mean, we are wearing the same exact shirt.
Warren, please stop.
And
please
you're
stop
matchy
encouraging
right
her.
now.
Please stop encouraging her because this
He's excited for the tart.
He doesn't know what a tart is, and you haven't answered the question either.
I'm jealous of your friendship.
Yeah, here, tie my friendship bracelet.
I would be more than happy.
Okay, thank you very much.
She's crying right now.
But not, like, too tight. Not as tight as yours. I mean, like...
I have dainty wrists.
You have dainty... Well, yeah, because you're a female. I mean, so am I. Look at my wrists. They're pretty dainty. See, that's already too tight. I'm already going to cut it off as soon as you leave the room.
Yeah, how do you cut these off?
Yeah, where are the scissors?
Don't worry, I have a Leatherman in my pocket, guys. As soon as she turns her back.
Why can't we be friends?
All right, we're friends now. Kim,
well, I'm
That's
sure.
my Christmas present.
Here, help the old man out.
Even your tiny little wrist, could you not tie it?
His arthritis is acting up or something.
An inch or so left over here.
You're going to get doubled up, Tasty.
Yeah.
What's not going to work?
Now, are you going to get two of the same one, or are you going to get one different one? Because I feel like one speaks to your aura and one speaks to your intent, or something like that.
Oh.
You're really embracing this. You're taking it to a whole new level.
You know a lot about friendship.
Yeah, you do. You're a friendship expert.
That's true. Tasty has a doubler. There it goes. Tasty, you're now. You guys are going to prom. Fuck, maybe I want to do that too. See, that looks better.
Like it doubled up.
Yeah, do that to me. Give me another one, Kim. Give me another one.
We're doubling up on our friendship right now.
Dragging somewhere.
No, I feel like two wrongs or two rights don't make a wrong or something. But they cross each other out.
God,
you see what I'm saying?
So much right now.
No, but like the field, the negative field kind of continuity is negated. The polarization has been reversed, and it cancels each other out.
So you can like something so much that you hate it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you come full reversal. Yeah.
Oh, you embrace it. Like,
embrace
your fear.
The hate.
Embrace
what?
I don't know, man.
Sounds like a U.S. election.
Yeah. Feels like it too, man.
I also brought some Christmas goodies.
Don't worry, I tied mine.
You just keep
we can spread the Christmas cheer.
What are you talking about?
I'll throw out the hop grenade.
Okay, great.
I tied mine myself because I don't need friends.
Whatever. Yeah, well, my wrists aren't as like bulky as Tasty's, so I have my mother's wrists. They're very, very tiny and nice. Anyways, Bissell Brothers show, everybody. We have like 9 beers, and apparently they're going so like this place is on a Monday night. This place is empty, and it's never this busy.
Word got out that they were going to be here.
Yeah. Kevin just looked at me.
So the beers are going fast. We actually had to pre-portion.
Yeah, it's packed in here. It's I haven't seen it this busy here in a long time on a Monday night, and it's great. Good for everybody. So it's all hazy beers, and they have 6-packs available. I guess they're almost out, and so people are liking it.
Also, beer geeks showed up. They're buying all the cans up too.
Yeah.
Speaking of beer geeks, didn't I hear that Nate Smith might make an appearance?
Nate Smith should be here around 6:45.
Oh,
get
excellent.
his expertise on the issue of
we have
hops.
a bracelet for him too.
Oh wait, Nate even gets to be your friend?
How do you
She's just throwing it out there, man.
I don't have a friendship bracelet. How do you get one? What's the deal?
What?
Did you forget you're wearing one, Tasty?
No, I'm thinking me. I've never get Nate, and I don't have like a bond like we're doing here.
But
I'm forcing my bond upon everybody.
I think
forcing it. I like that.
I think
you will be my friend.
Me
God
too.
Damn it.
I feel like now by proxy, you and Nate are friends.
For what?
Because everybody with the friendship bracelet is apparently friends.
Oh, yeah. The friend of my friend is my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
6 degrees of Kim Shimki.
Right.
Hey, I like
Congratulations to everyone in this room who has other friends
I'm getting
people in their
kinda-
lives.
Kevin, I'm sorry, dude.
Thank you very much. Everybody getting into this.
Kevin who? I'm not sure.
Snuggles in there needs a friendship bracelet.
It's Cuddles.
Cuddles.
Kevin, come on
It's
out.
the same thing.
Come on down.
Yeah, you've been
Your turn.
elected, my friend.
Everyone has to get this in order to eat the tart, so just fucking suck it up.
He was crying in the room, in the control room. Because he didn't get one.
Right. We still don't know the difference between a pie and a tart. Kim has refused to tell her friends this.
I said I think it's the crust on top.
Secrets don't
I
keep
had said
friends,
that.
Kim.
What crust on top?
attention.
What are you talking
The
about?
tart doesn't have anything on top. It's like a quiche.
Neither does a key lime pie.
But there are pies that don't
No,
have
but it
crust
has a
on top.
meringue on top usually.
That's not a crust, though.
It's a topping.
Okay, so our friend
How
has
technically are we
no idea
getting?
what we're talking about.
I don't think she knows.
It's from Whole Foods.
She said that like 3 times.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Just so you know, bougie Whole Foods over here.
She got it on Prime.
Yeah, delivered now.
Yeah.
Amazon now.
It's an Amazon tart.
Yeah.
Right.
It took 2 days to get here, unrefrigerated.
So the beer's moving so fast here that Bev's pulling beers for us now to try in the 3rd segment or something like that. So maybe we'll be drinking beers throughout this whole thing just to kind of expedite because, people are here for it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to drink that beer. That's the Here's Two, whatever.
I have no idea. That's a good question. I think it's the double IPA, whatever that is. Here's to. Here's to feeling good all the time. Okay.
It is getting low. The automatic sensors in the tap room there say it's red. It's flashing red.
Whoa.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. It looks like the dregs of the keg, but I know it's not. That's how it's supposed to look.
You could put the beers in the cooler for a while, too, in the back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine, and so I'm excited to kind of get over this and talk to the Bissell people and see what's going on. But yeah, so you want to hear my court, my small claims court?
Weird court?
It was weird. Wait.
Did Judge Judy sign your chest?
I wish, man. That chick makes like $26 million a year, dude.
What?
Yeah, that little firecracker.
How?
Being Judge Judy, man. Contracts, TV contracts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Syndication.
There you go.
Huh.
That's Cinda money, but no. So long story short, we're suing the people who bought our house because they won't release our deposit. And they're claiming that they're taking it because of the backyard, the backyard died out. But we're like, there was no lawn in the backyard. Right. It was all weeds.
What part died out?
The weeds.
Oh, okay.
The weeds died out. And
that was there when they looked at the house and bought it, right?
Correct, okay. But they didn't know that they were weeds. They thought it was grass.
You just cut them and it looked like lawn.
Apparently, I don't know. But anyway, so that's like the crux of this whole issue. So
sure you didn't steal your turf for the new place?
God.
You hired a sod guy to come cut it out.
It's gone. I don't know. So we get to court, and they're there, of course, and apparently in small claims you can do mediation first on the day of your court. And I don't know if this is like in every small claims or just in Martinez, which we had to go to. Good old Martinez.
You can? Is that the first thing to do is you guys going to do mediation first? Or?
Yeah, I guess. So they had a mediator, and they're like, hey, if you want to do this now, that's totally cool. And so, I said, no, I don't want to do that.
Does that save you money? What's the point of
it saves the court's time. Yeah. And really, so the mediator's like, well, look, if you can't appeal, which is the word I've been searching for like 2 hours, you can't appeal if you're the plaintiff and you don't like the ruling, you can't appeal it.
In mediation? Or
no, in court, in court, in just small claims.
You've gotten an award, you just can't appeal your award.
Right. And she was saying that the judge kind of likes, he would rather people try mediation first.
Mm.
Right. Mm. And so I originally said no. And then the judge comes out, and he's this older guy, and he goes, "Look, your guys' yeah, no offense, your guys' case is really, really suited for mediation. Oh. So if you guys want to do that, that would be great." So then I stood up and was like, "Well, Your Honor, if you feel that this would be the best thing for our case, then I would try it out. That's fine." So we go.
Can I buy you a beer later?
Right. So we go upstairs to mediation. Didn't go well. These people were total dicks.
They showed up dicks and they stayed dicks.
Yes, and they were like sarcastic and snarky, and they were scoffing at the things that we said. And at one point, they're like showing photos of irrelevant things. And then one of the defendants stands up and is like, "We can't be here because they're complaining about the thing. We have to do this separately." And I'm telling the mediator very calmly, I'm like, "Look, we don't want to leave because they're showing you photos that have no bearing on anything right now, and so we can stay here and do this.
That it was weeds in the backyard. We'll give you. We don't.
Here are the photos. Here are the photos. Yeah. So they anyway. Long story short about that, we step outside. The mediator talks to them, and then the mediator comes out to us, and she goes, "Look, I feel for you." She goes, "I feel for you. They're not going to settle for anything, so you're going to go downstairs." Back to the small claims. Back to see the judge, yeah. And so we're like, okay, that's totally fine. Oh, on the way up, we exit the courtroom, and she's taking us. She goes, okay, we're going to be on the third floor in the jury selection room, jury room 3. So, the elevators here are really small, so some of you can take the elevator, some of you can take the stairs. Whatever you want to do, I'll take the stairs, and we'll see you up at the top of the stairs. So she calls the elevator. I hold the door open for Taryn because she's pregnant. She wore a tight dress, so it's visibly pregnant. Oh. She goes in. I go in. The other 4 of these motherfuckers just walk right by. They go, no, we'll take the stairs. And I go, perfect. That's great. We had our own little elevator. They're just petty from the jump, right? So we go back to court, back to small claims court, back into the courthouse or the courtroom. And the judge comes out, and he goes, okay, let's get this going. So we go up, and he goes, okay, Mr. Petros, so your claim is about the security deposit. And I go, yes, Your Honor, it is. Okay, and then, so what's going on? They're taking out damages for, like, some backyard issue and some cleaning? Yeah. And they go, okay. He goes, okay, did they provide you with... Did they provide you with like an itemized deduction list? And I said, well, they emailed something. They emailed some invoices and some quotes, but work wasn't done on it. There were quotes. He goes, okay, but they didn't send anything to you. And I go, no, just an email. And so I said, and they're supposed to do it via mail or hand delivered. And he goes, that's right. And he looks at them. He goes, so burden of proof is on you guys. Why didn't you do this? And they're like, well, they didn't have a forwarding address. They didn't leave their forwarding address. And the judge goes, I know their forwarding address. I can tell you their address right now without looking at the paperwork. It's your address.
Right,
he's like the law. Because the law states
it'll forward your mail.
Yeah, the law states that if you don't have their address, you send it back to their old you send it to their old address, which you had, and you didn't do that, right?
Judge Judy couldn't do that. That guy's good.
Right. Yeah.
And there was something else, and eventually it was something about disclosures. Like we didn't tell them that there was no lawn in the backyard, and so they had sent us photos as proof, and so they presented these photos to the judge. And maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this. I don't know. It's over, so who cares? I didn't sign anything. And they're like photos of the backyard, but they're like 3x5, like normal size photos, but they have a border around them, so they're smaller than 3x5, so they're just minute. Right. And what I did is I took those same photos and I blew them up to 8x10, and then I cropped them so it's just the lawn, and I blew those up to 8x10 so you can see the detail. Right. And I go, these are their images that they sent us. We just zoomed in on them. Here's a picture of the front yard grass taken at that time, and here's this is clearly not grass. And they're like, well, they were supposed to disclose. And the judge looks at him and he goes, but did they tell you that there was grass in the backyard?
Right.
And they go, no, but they didn't tell us there wasn't. And he goes, but they didn't tell you that there was. And they go, no. And he's like, you didn't lie.
You showed. You let them look at the place.
Exactly.
They can see that there's no grass.
Exactly.
You didn't say, "Oh, there is grass." To trick them.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, you're totally upfront.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I thought too. And he goes, look, disclosure is for things that aren't readily visible.
Right. Sure.
They're for things that are hidden. Yeah. So this was clearly visible. Here's a photo of you on the lawn, and so anyway, he didn't rule.
Well, it's not a lawn.
You're right.
The
he's
weed
presenting
patch.
your freaking case.
He argued our case for us. We just had to stand there and look really handsome.
I see.
Taryn is a handsome woman.
She is. In that Midwest meaning of handsome, just very. But and then he's like, okay, well, we'll rule later. He doesn't rule from the bench, so I don't know how it went, but I think we dunked on those motherfuckers because fuck them.
Yeah, I would have loved if you had gotten a botanist to look at those pictures as an expert witness.
I had thought about it, to be completely honest, like if it went that far. But if they appeal the decision, then and then it would go to Superior Court, then I would do that.
Oh yeah,
but they can just defend that. Well, we didn't know, but and then I told him, I go, I have a problem with 4 adults not being able to tell the difference between this picture and this picture. Right. It's the photos that they sent us.
Yeah.
So they sunk their own ship, and I hope they, I don't know. They can eat my ass, Warren. I hated it. Actually, I really enjoyed it. I hated them because they were very snarky and going.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the process, to be completely honest. I mean, not only was justice served, but just, I don't know, it's my first court case, and I wore my suit, and I'm sitting, dude.
Really?
Yeah, of course I did.
You own a suit?
Well,
from your wedding?
No, actually, no, it's not.
Yeah, and Karen was in her wedding dress.
They were, yes, we got dolled up because that's the only level of like good. Actually, it was from our Taste Awards nomination where we went to the award ceremony. It's a big deal, but I don't want to rub it in. It was in Hollywood. It's fine. It's fine. But I'm sitting there and like, I have my legs crossed and like waiting for us to go, and I look at my sleeve and I go, oh fuck, that's moth eaten. Oh shit! And I'm like, seeing all these like holes. I'm like, God.
Oh boy.
I hope the judge doesn't go, okay, final inspection before we allow you up to the. It was a pain.
Oh
dude.
man, good thing you left an upper decker in all of your toilets at that house before you left.
They were just real jerks about the whole thing, and from start to finish. And I'm glad it's over.
Both the judge and the mediator took your side. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good to actually like have an argument and be right.
Yeah, if you,
and not have to argue some arbitrary thing that's just kind of what I do normally.
And there's a reasonable judge in Martinez.
Who would have known? Oh, the best part is he goes, I've been a real estate agent for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very well versed on disclosures. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is an alley-oop to my dunk. Like, let's do this. Let's go, baby. And he was just telling me.
Teamed up, huh?
Yeah, well, man, it was so good.
Nice.
It was a good time. But anyway, my voice is kind of like already strained because I've been not only prepping beforehand, I'm slowing down. Prepping beforehand, but doing all this stuff, and then afterwards decompressing, then talking to Brian, the guy who helped me, and then talking to my real estate agent, and talking to my dad, and it's just this blah. So,
talking to your dad?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm talking to my dad again now.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's because he's 80. And he's dying, and no, he's not dying, but I mean, we're all dying. It's fine.
We are, yes, all of us.
But I don't know. It's like whatever.
The older is coming soon.
That's cool.
It's cool. He said some weird shit to me, and then he now says he doesn't remember it. And so he's like, I apologize. That's not me anymore. And I set some boundaries, and was like, well, if you keep bringing up the stuff I don't really like that you talk about, like me throwing my homework away when I was 6 years old. And as a 30-year-old man, you're telling me this? Like, I don't care about it? Uh-huh. If you do that, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the phone.
That's just an old people thing, by the way. It's not just your dad.
No, right.
Yeah, old people say weird things.
Like warm, fermenting lagers.
You're going to hang around some other ones. You'll get the idea.
Anyway, so I kind of dropped all that, and, I'm talking to my dad. It's just weird. My brothers still don't talk to him.
Oh, really?
So it's this weird, so our Christmas party, they were like, so you talked to Dad? And I'm like, yeah, I told you, and it's going okay.
I was going to say, how'd they know then?
Yeah, I told them.
Okay.
Yeah, I told them.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's all right. What are you going to do? Okay, so on to feedback. Let's do some feedback here, Warren.
Okay.
Feedback is brought to you today by the Beer Law Center, beerlawcenter.com. John Sismankasugusint is over there. He just wrote a book on beer law that yours truly wrote the foreword for it.
Oh, wow, the forest word.
Yes, that was amazing. I should read an excerpt of it. Every show, I should just do a reading.
One line.
Yeah, apparently the book is selling really well.
Nice.
Yeah, mainly because of me.
Right.
It's my name recognition.
Are you a best-selling author on the New York Times
I'm a best-selling contributor as far as...
He's a forwarder.
I'm the best forwarder.
Okay.
As far as, like, Amazon rankings within self-help law...
Is there a literary award for forwards?
Number 2.
That's great.
Fuck, that's a good question, Warren.
I feel like there probably is.
Let's find out. You want to find out real quick?
Because I would nominate you.
Can you win an award for a forward? Oh, that's a good. It's almost like a pun. Win a book award. Forward services.
That's probably not it.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, there is no feedback. We had 0 feedback today.
Oh,
I was really bummed out about this. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
That's how good of a job we're doing here.
No, yeah.
I thought you had it on the agenda because we had it. You just had the agenda.
No, I had to say it because it's a sponsored segment.
Oh, I see.
I still had to get John's plug in. Yeah.
Well, we could read the feedback that was about Kim Shimke the last time she was on, since she probably didn't listen to it.
Do we have that?
No, there wasn't feedback. I thought it was you all appreciating me.
Well, first of all, that would never happen.
Weeks ago, or the week after she was on last, I thought there was a piece of feedback that was about her.
I don't don't know. What could it have been?
Was it positive or negative?
I don't.
Cover your ears.
I'm telling you everything I remember about it.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was something.
I remember her getting mentioned
A couple weeks ago.
in a feedback.
I'm looking right now. Let me see. Kim.
In the shin.
No.
No? Oh, well.
You're just inserting her into your thoughts, man.
No, I'm pretty sure we were all going to go around the table, and you all said what you were going to appreciate about me.
Oh, appreciation minute?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
That ain't going to happen.
Oh, that moment passed already?
I'm not sure if you want that kind of feedback right now.
It's true.
Well, we are friends again.
We're all friends now.
Under protest. Let me be very, very clear about
Try
that.
it on for size. So far, it's good.
Twitter game, Warren. Do we have a Twitter game?
Yes.
All right. Twitter game is brought to you today by the Wine and Hop Shop. Good folks at Wine and Hop Shop. If you want to make wine and learn how to brew beer, learn how to beer. There's not a whole lot of places that do both very well, but the Wine and Hop Shop is one of them. So check it out, wineandhopshop.com. Good people, supporters of the show, and those are the two things that really matter in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since Kim is bringing so many gifts to all of us,
like GIF or gifts, like
I'd rather have a GIF than the gifts. We need some ideas that we, at least me personally, that I can order on Amazon right now to give Kim, my new friend, for Christmas.
So what should Warren order via Amazon right now to be delivered in time for Christmas for Kimberly?
Extra points if you send links to things that already exist.
Real things.
Real things.
Did she have to ruin everything?
Are they going to tell me to give you something that doesn't exist?
Well, they can make it up.
Yeah, I think usually Twitter games are people making shit up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't actually know that.
Okay. Those are the best ones. They're ridiculous.
Get her an everlasting gobstopper.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, right? I'm not Willy Wonka.
I wish you were, though. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a break right now, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Noah and Hester Bissell, and, of course, the ever-handsome, ever-popular Mike Sardina. And did I get that right? Handsome and popular, like in perpetuity.
Lumbersexual.
It's the Brewing Network, everyone. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
The 21st Amendment. Watch out! Do you like beer? They make beer. Watch out! Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun. Watch out! Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment. Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out! This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, the Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff, Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers. It's freaking awesome. Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
This is Corey King from Side Project Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
There's murder all around you, on the streets and in the skies. Let it rain and cold.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging on. Excuse me while I clear my throat. But you know what's not excusable, Warren?
What?
Missing out on the craftbeer.com beer and food course.
Of course not.
Of course.
Pun not intended.
Oh, damn.
I mean, intended, right?
There we go, baby. Of course, it is the groundbreaking culinary course. I was trying to think of another synonym for course, and I can't. So now it's just the course.
Of course it is.
It's all rattling in my head. The only word is just course.
Of course, Mr. Ed.
It leads professionals and enthusiast chefs alike through the basics of beer, pairing, and food. The craftbeer.com food course is built by a Culinary Institute. John. Here, where is it? There we go. I lost my place.
Johnny's Food.
Culinary Institute of America graduate and a certified Cicerone. There are two versions, of course. One is a professional version made for chefs, restaurateurs, brewers, and hospitality professionals. And then number two is an enthusiast version created for at-home chefs. That would be you and my wife.
Anybody else.
Yeah, right. Not Kim, though. I feel like Kim does. Kim, do you do a lot of cooking at home? Are you like a home chef? Do you try different things?
I have a George Foreman grill.
She brought a key lime tart from Whole Foods.
That's true. Okay, you're right.
I have a food processor, too.
Say no more. I put pimento cheese on my sandwiches.
It's the caviar of the South.
On my organic free-range crackers.
Right. They paid too much. Anyway, learn how to pair beer with your favorite foods, including chocolate, charcuterie, and cheese. You'll also get to ultimately know beer styles. You'll see data and stories that will convince you that full-flavored beer deserves a place on the menu along wine and spirits. Also, the course is free. So visit craftbeer.com. Yes.
You told me that first.
Oh, lead with that.
That's the lead, right? It's the leader right there.
Okay. Do you like free things?
I like free.
The craftbeer.com beer and food free course.
Yeah.
I should start with that.
Yeah.
That'll be good. All right, with me in the studio is Noah and Hester Bissell, and of course Mike Sardina, and Kim's here, and it's fine. But welcome, you three. Which are wait here. Let me turn on your microphones. Let me try that, that might actually work.
They came from the farthest point in the country away from us, probably, that any guest has come in the U.S.
You think so?
This is
there's more and more honor being bestowed upon us as the longer we're here. So
That's
true.
Is
great to know.
You guys are going to walk out with deed to this place. You're like, you here you
Is
go.
the red carpet in that room or where's my robe?
There's a show on Monday. You figure it out.
Yeah.
Is there a show on Monday?
Merry Christmas. There's a show on Monday.
No, there's not. Is there?
On Christmas.
Do you have St. Nicholas on that one? St. Nicholas Brewing Company?
God, there should be
First brewery in the whatever continent, the North Pole.
In the North Pole.
Is that a continent?
That one, no.
It's
Or is that just North America?
right? Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
I don't
Why not?
know.
Anyway. It's good to have Mike back in the studio. Mike, what's happening since you left Society? Yes.
Yeah.
No, he said it.
Living in the Northeast. So
Were you homeless?
You just wanted to
Were you
change?
Yeah, what's going on?
not necessarily homeless, but just
Emotionally bereft.
Grew up in upstate New York, and
That's right.
a couple different opportunities brought me back to the Northeast.
You want to move home? Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we miss seeing you around here. Tell
I
you
know.
that. It's good to see you. You look rested.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, man.
No.
He's been hibernating in the winter.
You working your ass off?
Always?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you doing for Bissell?
So I do some of our events, some of the hospitality aspects, and a little bit of employee wellness, so educational programs. Trying to get yoga off the ground for folks at the brewery, but yeah.
Cool.
So far, it's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you're out there moving some things around.
I am.
Employee wellness is not often a title at any brewery.
That you'd think that'd be something like in California or like the Bay Area, like employee wellness. To me, that's like a San Francisco startup tech company that would have something called employee wellness.
Somebody in the personnel department, like at level 23.
He just got legalized in Maine, so I think maybe there's
that's what it is. Like, man, we got to get well, bro.
Oh, it's that kind of wellness.
Not in Mike's sense necessarily, but the ethos of it all. Yeah.
Wow, Noah just called Mike out, dude. Smoking the big doinks.
Mike and his ethos.
So, Noah, you are the co-founder and head brewer, apparently, on my notes here, of Bissell Brothers.
That is correct.
Congratulations.
Right.
Congratulations are in order, I feel.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to say that. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're going to chat with you just about, obviously about the things that we normally talk about, right?
Oh, thanks.
Your history, all that kind of stuff, but you were a home brewer.
I very much was a home brewer.
What were you doing that for? Because, come on, home brewing is
that is honestly
annoying.
Still a question I ask myself sometimes. But unfortunately, this show kind of pushed me to that. Or at least the Brewing Network pushed me to that.
So
anyway.
That's not the session because we're trash. But like, what show in particular?
Session,
you just took your compliment
all
away.
All the other shows pushed me towards that.
You just say Dr. Homebrew, it's fine. You can say that. It's okay. It's all right.
Back in my day, it was very much a can you brew it. It was what pushed me towards pursuing home brewing. So,
that's all right. I was on that show too. It's fine.
I remember. I recall correct. Yeah.
Specifically, your shows, or your episodes on that show.
I know. Look,
it was only the English Dark Mild show is what I've just listened to and repeat. Yep. So,
absolutely.
Exactly.
That's solidarity.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good beer. So you were listening to us. I just want to make that very clear that you are a fan of the Brewing Network because you can say yes. It's fine.
It depends on the day. But
you are a fan of JP. Not putting words in your mouth. But.
No, I would never do that. However, you can sign this document. No, because and I'm just messing around, of course. But we were talking before the break or during the break about the things that some people have said on the radio about hazy beers and
or Instagram
or
chicken soup or I don't know, bouillon. Whatever that is, I'm not really a chef. I don't know.
Yeah, it's even worse than like beef stock. It's like dehydrated beef stock. It's like you're not even a word. Anyway,
just the cube.
Yeah. So it was. We actually had a really cool conversation because I told you that we want to approach. I want to approach this interview with. As much caution as I'm kidding. Just as like figuring out the style because you guys are the first brewery on here to be to represent the style, right? The New England IPA.
First in New England.
Yeah, right. So I think that's pretty cool. And so thank you very much for coming in and doing the show and having all the beers here. Everyone out there is loving them. So, but I'm really excited to figure all this kind of stuff out, how you got here even. Let's talk about your home brewing. What kind of beers were you brewing at home?
Probably like most home brewers, a little bit of everything, which again, just give you another free plug is sort of what the BN is great for.
That's what we live off of, too. Free
plug. Free plug.
Love it.
And I have picked that up. So, but a little bit of everything to start out. I still am kind of shaky having Tasty next to me because there's quite a few batches of Janet's Brown that I brewed early on. So this is, cool. Frankly, really fucking cool to have this guy. Yeah,
glad you liked it.
The next person next to me other than my wife. So, a little bit of everything, and then it slowly sort of between my own palate and sort of where I suppose a lot of palates were going simultaneously with going to more and more towards hops. And did you say Nathan was maybe coming by?
He was supposed to be here like 5 minutes ago.
That's no problem at all. I will save, I guess, the story, but please be ready for me to like interrupt anything that's going on to talk about something else. I'm going to skip one part.
I'll remember
that. Get on a jail-free card. Go ahead.
Yeah, cool.
You hate Nathan Smith. That's what I'm doing.
We want to hear it, especially in front of him.
Yeah. So we'll wait for then. But a little bit of everything, and then I was. Let me even think here. I guess I was going into my senior year of college and was kind of becoming, my grades were becoming atrocious in my senior year of college as a psychology major in a satellite state school in Maine. As glamorous as that sounds. And I realized that with how much time I was spending brewing that I should probably at least consider maybe trying to have that be the only thing I do, because it pretty much was already.
You were brewing that much? How much were you brewing? I mean, of course, under the 200 gallons, but...
not even close to the 200 gallons. So I actually had a 5 milliliter system. It's,
there we go.
One of the smallest systems in the country that I'm still very proud of.
Yeah, we'll talk milliliters.
We can talk about that later. But, but probably 3 or 4 times a week between working probably 30 hours a week as a bartender and server, and then also going to school full time. So brewing was kind of an obsession.
Were you married at the time?
No.
Okay.
No. Definitely on the marriage trajectory, but not married.
Okay.
At that time.
Because Hester's like, yes, she's nodding her head.
Mine as well have been, because here we are. But mine as well have been. But that probably was the reason we weren't married then, was brewing. If brewing was stripped from that equation, then we probably would have been married a long time ago.
Really? You think so? All right.
Just in terms of hours in the day element,
Well, hey, important things for, school and job and brewing, and then, and then the girlfriend.
And I suppose I shouldn't inject another part of that was sort of the perfect storm of things was Hester was living 3.5 hours away. So I had very adequate time to listen to podcasts in terms of traveling to visit. So that was kind of, I would go visit, think about brewing the entire way there, think about brewing the entire time while I was there, and then think about brewing the entire time home, and then pretty much fire up my kettle on the stove, which, by the way, never got a security deposit back anywhere I've ever lived because of how fucked up all the stoves have been.
Hey,
can I say...
Sure.
Oh, okay.
You can say stove. It's fine. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
If you need to take anybody to small claims court, I'm now technically a lawyer.
Wow. I came in at the time where I didn't know what the stove you were talking about earlier in terms of
security deposit.
In terms of how what you were talking.
I'll give you my dissertation,
and a lawyer was mentioned.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
That's all you need. Yeah. I'll give you my dissertation later. It's fine. And so anything you need, pro bono.
He's a published lawyer in the law segment of books.
Second in self-help
law on Amazon.
Brewing law books is what on Amazon, like 3 months ago for like a day.
Yeah, probably
is what I heard you say.
I think so.
Okay.
Did you bring a book for him to sign?
That's okay. I have more in the back.
That's just what I heard.
You'll have to buy it.
I'm happy to.
In case it is trunk.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So you were driving around, spending all this time with your future wife. thinking about brewing?
She wasn't in the car. I was driving to see her. Just to be clear, yeah. Just
we don't know that.
I'm not that sadistic to make her listen to you assholes.
I have
also,
listened to a bunch of podcasts.
Yeah,
and you still came.
Yeah, I'm kind of sadistic.
And you still made the trip. Okay.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm stoked.
She's all in.
All right.
Nice.
Okay, well that's
ride or
good.
Die,
So you're
ride or die.
You're in college and you bring 3 times a week.
Yep.
Who's drinking all these like 15 mil of beer that you're doing a week?
Right.
Like,
Everyone that's 21 or over. That is for damn sure.
I bet you have a lot of good
That sounds
friends, a lot of good
responsible.
friends there.
I got a lot of good friends that seem to really like me. I'm not that likable of a person, but when beer's involved, they actually seem to love me.
Must be your pricing too, free.
Right.
Yeah, when you're brewing beer,
right.
you're also brewing friends.
I hit a really competitive pricing bracket, in that sense. Right.
Billions of friends.
How was your beer then? Do you have a sense of that, or
good question,
did
Tasty?
you have a judge or something?
Answer Tasty right now. How was your beer? Was it good or did it suck?
That is a great question. Probably like a lot of home brewers, a lot of it sucked, and a lot of it was good enough for me to keep going into it. Yes, a lot of it was just good enough to motivate me to keep moving forward. You probably got a BN tip somewhere in there that kind of pushed you up. I got a few BN tips. Sure. Yeah, I hate as much as I hate to admit. Yeah,
no charge for that.
Yeah,
no charge for those. So then you're like, all right, look, I'm going to fail out of school because I can't focus on anything other than brewing, which we're just paraphrasing. So you want, yeah, well, right, and you want to, you decide you're going to open a brewery, or you want to at least entertain it.
Correct.
So what do you do? How did you start? Did you get investors? Talk to your family?
Well, the first thing I should mention in that sense is I have a brother that is I love very much because he's my brother, but he's a very different person than myself. He's very at that time he was a commercial wedding photographer primarily.
Wow.
So he was already an entrepreneur in that sense. Was totally unconnected to anything beyond his own business at that time. He's 6.5 years older than me. So he would have been 26, 27 at that point, and was getting a little burnt out on that aspect of things because no matter how fancy you are or creative you are with your wedding, it's a wedding. yeah,
right.
At the end of the day. So he was sort of looking for something else. And our paths just were really lucky to align where he was looking for something different, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do anything with my psychology degree that I barely got at my so Peter kind of spurred me upon to be like, you're clearly obsessed with this, and
you were the
every now and then you can actually be pretty good at this too. So and that was sort of the arrangement we kind of verbally agreed upon in college.
Sure, every dreamer needs a doer to make it happen.
Exactly, yeah. And the guy, as you sort of alluded to, JP, someone that can actually talk to people that have money, maybe.
That's very important.
Yeah. So
having a face man is very important.
Yes, and he is a very beautiful man. He's not here, but you'd all melt if he was here. So
So thank you for not bringing him in.
Right. No one wants to be melted.
No, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. So he tastes your beers. He says, "Yeah, I think you think you should do this full time." Were your parents stoked on it after you just got your degree? I mean, it doesn't matter where it's from, right? I mean,
well,
you got it.
To make things a little more complicated, it was before I got my degree.
His timeline is so skewed, Warren.
I'm confused.
His timeline is hazy. It's hazier than the beer.
Well, he said he eventually got the degree. I don't think he got. I think he did drop out.
The kind of idea was not hazy before I got my degree. It was like, let's fucking do this. And,
okay, we'll figure it out later. But you probably planned on being sort of traditional, or at least pale ale and a stout and all this kind of garbage, right?
Yes, yeah. That's a really actually good observation. It's not you're not really observing anything. I guess a good assumption, I should say.
Thank you. I'm good at that. I put the ass in assumption.
It was like because again, Peter was a photographer and had a really good knack at graphic design. Mm-hmm. So we were throwing labels on bottles with again, common practice in homebrewing. But so we had. I can't even say the name of the stout because we immediately realized that was taken, and we had zero money then. So not trying to. Fuck around with someone like you that had, in a suit.
I'll sue your ass right now.
Yeah, not even trying to go there.
I'm pro bono with so many breweries right now.
Yeah, so that was a pretty traditional stout. Then we basically realized the exact same thing with our pretty traditional American Amber, which is the name was taken by probably my favorite brewery on.
So okay,
did you not have the internet in Maine to look up other breweries' names?
I didn't have a lot of beers to buy where I was in Farmington, nor a lot of money to buy them. So I didn't have a lot of awareness in some sense, I guess.
It didn't dawn on you that, hey...
I was 20/21, so I feel like that's a prerequisite at that time.
Brewing at 20,
all right.
drinking at 21.
Yeah.
So you were these naming your home brews?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
and then so when you...
Pete would make the... Pete's my brother,
Okay.
Peter, yeah.
Right.
He'd make the... I'd, sweat over making the beer and obsessing over that, and Peter would... make it look really pretty.
On the home, just for home brews.
Correct.
And I thought this was commercial beer. That's why.
Oh, no. This was way before that.
So when you decided, hey, we're going to bring this portfolio of beers across to the production, whenever that opens, we're going to bring these names, and that's when you realized, hey, these names are actually taken by breweries who are open already and blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
And you can't say them at all, because you didn't sell them, so you didn't do anything wrong. In my lawyerific opinion...
Yeah. Maybe when we can talk about where the name for our IPA came from, we can discuss that more.
Okay.
It's not worried about legalese. It's more just worried about tying everything together in one nice little package.
Okay.
Christmas is upon us, by the way.
That's true.
It's
like
seasonal.
it or not, man.
Yeah.
Can be a package.
Christmas and branding.
Yeah.
Best in a package.
So anyway, that was kind of the first. The stout and the amber sort of got pushed onto the back burner, and the other remaining beer was the IPA I was working a lot on, and that was what went on to become our flagship beer. It was the one for the next, between when I graduated in college and when the brewery actually sold its first beer was about a year and a half, and that basically that IPA was what I worked on pretty obsessively for about 2 years in that sense.
While you're waiting to get open and do all this stuff.
like certainly wanted to, not just do that because to keep myself around more than anything. But the IPA was what I lost sleep over, basically.
Wow, you were that into it.
I think Hester could back that up.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was
Well,
pretty
that time
into
you
it.
had the prospects of actually having a brewery, so you were like,
You don't have much of a choice when the bank is involved. Yes.
And so when was this? I apologize. How long ago was this?
So I was. So this would have been. I graduated in 2012.
Okay.
And then the brewery sold its first beer on December 7th, 8th of 2013. Okay. One of those two dates. I'm sorry, I don't have.
So 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
So it's about
Okay.
almost exactly 4 years ago. So we just had our four-year anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what equipment did you open up with? What size?
We opened with a 10-barrel system.
10-barrel.
Yep. Yep.
So at the time, the IPA made sense. I mean, it still does, but IPA kind of rules craft beer in general. I'm sure the bank loved that, where, I think you could easily track that or easily prove that people are buying this beer. This is going to be our first beer to be released. How can you not?
Sure.
Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Sometimes not because I don't like those types of beers, but just in terms of what we do now. I remember there was also allusions to a kumquat goza and some other things that are probably not on the immediate horizon for us anytime soon.
Okay.
Just to try to round out our pitch, basically.
Sure.
But yeah, in terms of just we don't have any rich uncles or anything like that. So in the terms of breweries opening with a 10-barrel system. Our portfolio was incredibly small, meaning one beer for the first 8 months we were around, and about half of that was just draft, and then for the second half of that, it was the same beer still, but it was basically split between cans and draft.
Okay,
that same
and
beer.
That's the Substance.
Correct.
Is your flagship?
Correct.
Was it hazy? From the jump?
Not to start.
Okay.
Yep, not to start.
All right. I like it so far.
Yeah. That's too open-ended, literally, for me to even continue going with it until you give me a little more prompting on how do you want me to answer that.
What made you right? What made you decide to ruin a nice clear beer?
I'm a I'm a masochist.
I hate myself. Right.
And I hate everyone.
That's why you had a psychology degree. That's what I've always heard.
Exactly. Yeah. You're putting it all together.
No, but honestly, like, what's
Totally.
the transition down that path?
It was a few things. So we probably, especially at that time, most breweries brewing an IPA were using Chico, and that beer.
The
1056.
1056.
Yeah, Chico. I think I saw Chino on the sign out there, and I didn't know if that was a hop I hadn't heard of that I added when I was under the influence of someone. I don't know, but anyway, Chico.
Yes,
is what I intend to say.
Okay,
and we were all very happy with that beer, but we kind of reached a point where, so that would have been about a year and a quarter, year and a half into brewing that beer that we decided to add in a slightly more expressive yeast at that time.
Okay.
Just in terms of seeing the exponential amount of breweries opening, the exponential amount of breweries opening that were brewing exclusively IPAs.
Right.
In terms of those things, like how do we define ourselves a little bit more? Especially when at that point we consider we maybe had 3-4 beers in our portfolio. So that was really the impetus in that regard.
So you were really just looking for a more flavor from the yeast. You weren't necessarily going, you know what we can do is haze this up a little bit. Because
differentiation.
Yeah, hi Nate.
What it sounded like. Hey, what's up, jerks?
How you doing, buddy? You're the jerk.
Very happy you're here. We will get into that later.
Pleasure to meet you, too.
Yeah.
Should I be scared?
Great to meet you, man.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here.
Well, you're doing great so far. I'm glad you made it, man. Thanks for coming in. So,
is that the same yeast you're still using, the one that you selected when you wanted to take a split from 001, or did you change again since then?
Nope, it is. Yeah, it's been the exact same yeast ever since we decided to make that change. Because I'm very much of the school that, and this is, we can talk more about this later, I suppose, but very much of the school that to respect a yeast, you need to commit to it.
You got to know it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So you just brew lots of batches with it, stress it out, see what it does?
Yeah.
It's kind of become your house yeast since then, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's except for our lagers, that's the only yeast we've used since we decided to make that change.
That's
Maybe I wasn't paying attention. We're talking about a London yeast?
Nope, and that's, I think, a misconception with a lot of...
What is it? How would you describe this yeast? Like, what's it like?
It's not as far from Chico as you'd think.
But it's proprietary, it sounds like, right? Or you don't want to tell anybody.
Let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Let's see where this conversation goes. It's not the right time right now to talk about
Wow.
that.
As we get into your beers, you'll be describing what it does to beer.
Because that's
East
the most,
Coast guys,
that
man.
really is, I think, Tasty nailed it, that is more important than what strain you use. And I think that is a confusion that a lot of people think is like, throw fucking London 3 at it, and it's going to be... people will be lining up.
That's the new. That's the new kind of. This is what you want.
And that personally frustrates me a bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear how you do it.
I like the thought, or I like the where it came from. Is that you want more flavor out of the beer to set your beers apart from every single other IPA, and that's what kind of gets me about IPAs. Is they all you're painting with 3 colors really versus using all the Crayolas in the box. That's what I hate about IPAs, personally. It bothers me a lot. Like, why would you narrow your things? Right. This is all I talk about.
And you don't like the 4th color that our friends at Bissell Brothers
Well,
added.
that's fine. Now they're our friends. They don't have friendship bracelets, Warren.
I know, but I like them more than my new friend.
No, that's true. Mike does.
You
Okay.
still have like 2 hours, Kim. You can probably...
needy.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Yeah, Amazon now, dude.
Amazon now. I got that on my phone.
Keep your wrists away from Kim.
Of course you do. No, but honestly, I like that. That's where you were. That's where you were coming with this. So you take this yeast. Did you know it would turn out hazy, or was it just you poured it and you're like, what is going on?
Definitely more the latter suggestion in terms of, because again, in terms of what you would read on, the manufacturer's website, it's not really a yeast that's supposed to do that at all.
Okay.
And again, just trying to dangle that slightly.
Okay.
I'm not really a proprietary guy, hence why I owe so much to the Brewing Network. It's not that I'm adverse to talking about. I just want to talk about it in the right context.
Yeah, you're just messing with us, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
Let's get right to the context. How do you use that yeast to get the result that you're looking for?
Probably like most people use the yeast in the way their results, a lot of trial and error. Yeah.
But do you dry hop early, or do you temperature? What do you do that makes it do what you want it to do?
Well, actually, before we get into that, because I want to see how it developed, which to me is important.
Sure.
Just I don't know why.
So kind of, I guess, by my ignorance, I can say at this point, 2.5 years later. Yeah, 2.5 years later. I pretty much thought our beer's appearance wouldn't change at all. I thought that maybe we could get a slightly larger and more supportive ester profile out of that strain, but nobody would really notice except us.
Right.
And we could go from there.
So it came out cloudy, came out hazy. Would it drop? Did it clear in the tank? And this is, I don't know where I'm going with this, but just
I'm happy to talk about whatever. Yeah, I really am.
Because for me, the key for me to understanding this style is how you came upon wanting to do it. So when you pitched that yeast, did you add the oats, or did you do late hopping, or do any of the things that now everybody's doing?
The recipe beyond the yeast selection was identical to how it had been for that previous year and a half.
Okay. And then, so how did you get it from then to now? Did you adjust the water?
Not that much.
Okay.
Not that much.
I mean, basically the
slow
same thing.
tweaks, as just probably any brewery does, is like you, especially when you're actually charging money for your beer, you're not looking to make drastic changes that shock anyone.
Yeah.
So that was not our intention at all. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to interpret that, everyone was shocked, including myself, in terms of how we, did everything identical except this yeast change that on paper should have been pretty minute in terms of finished product. And
did you shit yourself? Like, I would shit myself.
A little bit.
I would go like, what have I done?
Definitely.
Especially coming from a homebrewer standpoint of we all drive to get our beers clear. We all drive to this like weird perfection
Not
thing.
anymore.
Not right.
Right. But yes.
But that's where you kind of came from. So for me, pouring that first pint out of that fermenter is like, what did I do? So you put it on tap.
Yep. And
what happened?
A lot of people were angry at us for calling it the same beer, was first and foremost. Or maybe not angry, but called us out on the fact that we still call this is substance ale.
Okay.
But in terms of profile, it was different, but not anywhere close to so different that you could not call it the same beer. It was the exact same beer with a tweak.
Okay.
And that tweak was one of those 4 basic ingredients that you tweak generally.
Right.
And but it wasn't, just want to reiterate, it wasn't as drastic of a tweak as would be expected.
You're not like reformulating everything and doing all this.
Literally everything in terms of grist, hopping rate, pitching rate, aeration, everything was identical to how it had been in the previous batch.
Okay. Was this beer crystal clear?
It would be like it's hard for me to, just because not a lot of like awesome West Coast IPAs make it to Maine that are fresh.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to, but like I would say, can you help me out, Mike, with an example of maybe what substance would have looked like? I don't want to throw Maine Beer Company under the bus. Throwing them under the bus. I love their beers, but be kind of that sort of haze level of terms of if they're fresh, it's not, you can't see your fingernail through the glass, but it's like...
Mike, give me a West Coast example of what the hell he's talking about.
Pupil, maybe.
Yeah, fresh pupil would be actually a great example. Yeah. Thank you for that, yeah. And then would be pretty much, pretty much crystal clear within 3 or 4 weeks in the package.
Okay.
Yep.
And so people were originally upset. What turned the tide? First of all, how big was this kind of haze craze out on the East Coast at this time? Was it a thing, or was it? Clue me in on that.
It's hard to even recall in some ways. It obviously was just a shell, of course, of what it is now.
Yeah.
And even the term haze craze makes me shrivel a little bit.
Trust me,
just did we have that be on record?
Me too. Yeah. Okay, all right, but I appreciate.
No, you got to own it now.
Own the shrivel.
I don't own in the sense that it's not what makes our beer our beer. Is really what I like to stand behind. Is that's not the characteristic of our beer. It might be a secondary characteristic of what is going on. We can talk about that later. But
well, what is the main characteristic of your beer? Would you say?
Good beer with haze.
Well, good beer. I think you strip the second part of that in my interpretation of it. It's good beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good hoppy beer.
Okay. So the haze was still a shell, still forming out there.
Yeah. So like at that time, not to interrupt you, but answering the original question, like in terms of where that quote unquote style gets its name, I mean Vermont breweries. You know, so I won't even name Vermont breweries, I guess. Yeah, it would be the easiest way to answer that.
Okay.
Sure, we answer.
All right.
I know a lot of those.
So how long did it take for people to turn the tide a little bit and start accepting the cloudy version of the clear beer that they liked so much?
For us, there wasn't a choice in a sense that either we were going to go under or they would accept it because of in terms of kind of the things I mentioned in terms of the beer. At the end of the day, really was not that different.
Okay.
But there was an added element that, in my opinion, still really added to make that beer, one, more unique, and B, just better.
Okay.
So I think whoever wouldn't have accepted that probably does not drink our beer anymore. And then whoever did was hopefully became a proponent of, like, it's not that... It's not a fundamental characteristic.
Right,
of
it
what
didn't
makes
change
it
the core of the
to
beer
drink as a beer. Yeah.
Right. I mean, even in home brewing, you get in a competition, you get 3 points knocked off, or 2 points for cloudiness or whatever. Right, Nate? 2 points probably, and 3 points for appearance.
Only 3 points total for appearance.
Yeah,
too as well.
So it shouldn't matter too much if everything else tasted the same. So that's cool. So then how does this idea blossom in your brewery into, I mean, every beer we have in front of us is hazy. How does that happen?
It's really kind of tying sort of what I said in terms of like, okay, we like the characteristic it added, and at that point that we had made that yeast switch, our I sound like a fucking huge distributor when I say the word portfolio, and it's I don't
just talking SKUs.
It's a legitimate term.
Fine. Yeah, it's not that, but in terms of the
we have 4
beers
SKUs
that we made were still quite small.
Yeah,
and again, I'm really a big proponent of the concept that, like, to know a yeast, you need to use that yeast a lot.
So you dug it. You dug the flavor that it kicked out.
Yep.
And even though customers were like, "This is not my blah blah blah," you're like, "You know what? I really dig it. Let's see what we can do with it."
Yes,
I like that. I respect that, man. That's that's going against the grain in some respects. I think you're not at that point. You're not making beer for any reason other than you think it's good and this is what you enjoy.
Yeah. The old adage that brewers brew what they like to drink, which is ultimately very true, but also has
sort of
stipulations to it, we decided to stick with that.
If it sucks, they're going to change it.
Yeah, right.
As long as it sells.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's reality. You are a production brewer. You're not a home brewer anymore at that point. And that's what is still to this day like a conflicting thing sometimes.
Sure.
When you want to be like, I don't know, fucking have some good mushrooms in some pasta dish you eat, and it's like, man, that's like, that earthy flavor's amazing. Like, guess what? Throw mushrooms in a beer, no one will buy it.
Right, yeah.
So you reserve that for a very small, pilot batch or whatever, and that is the trade that you do when you actually want to sell your beer and not just brew it.
Yeah. That's why you haven't made a Rauch beer yet.
Makes sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's why we're slowly making lagers. Yeah, because if it wasn't for that, we'd have a few IPAs and then like 8 lagers.
I would appreciate that.
How much of your production is lagers versus ales at this point, approximately, you think?
So again, we're in the really early stages of that. We just got in August. We just got 2. So now we have a 20-barrel brew house, just for the record. Yep. But so we just got 2 40-barrel horizontal lagering tanks.
Nice.
In the sense that just the way our space is, adding more fermenters right now just really is infeasible. Mm-hmm. So to be able to stack 40-barrel tanks was the move. So right now, I would say that lagers are between 5 and 10%.
Prove it. A new thing for you.
Prove it. Show me the books. Prove it.
Increasing.
Ask Peter. Yeah. That's his job. Yeah.
Sorry, Tasty. Go ahead.
But that's increasing. It sounds like you're just getting going with the bigger team.
Exactly. Yep. The idea is to slowly, again, with being totally honest and in respect to, we have
business strategy.
18 employees.
Oh, wow.
20.
20, yeah. I think that's including everyone. Okay, so 20 employees total, including myself and my brother.
Yeah.
In respect to not wanting to suddenly say, like, yeah, we're fucking closed, sorry, to those other 18 people other than my brother and myself, in terms of slowly trying to educate and also make sure our lagers are really good.
So lagers you see as a good business strategy in terms of like what people are going to want to have next kind of thing?
It's a mix. It's a mix. It's what I want to have next, for sure.
Absolutely.
In
most importantly.
regards to that old adage, but it's also, you have to respect what people are willing to drink and what they're willing to actually buy.
Sure.
So that's kind of where lagers are for now. I would love to shove those down people's throats.
God, me too, man.
That's just not how, it's...
We try. Warren and I try on this show. We try very hard.
And we're trying too, and we're going to be trying harder and harder. Yeah,
right.
Because that is the beer style at the end of the day when you strip everything else
It's a
out.
drink with the brewers like all day.
Yeah. Except like clay pot beer. If you really want to get back to Mesopotamia. But in the sense of history, that is kind of the beer style. So I think... it's important to recognize that and to respect that and try to perpetuate that. And the truth is, they're really fucking good when made well.
Hell yeah.
We have a ton of beer in front of us, so I want to get into one beer. We can talk about that, then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back, have some more conversation, talk about the business growth, talk about your other lines, talk about what you're doing, what you want to do in the future, and, of course, the feedback online and all that kind of fun stuff. Because for me, that's what I think that's amazing. So
we're going to learn more about this yeast, too. We haven't given up on that.
Yeah. That's correct.
And I'm, again... very happy to talk about that. And
in weird tangential doses.
And let us not forget just my bowing down to this man, Nathan Smith, right here. And
thank you.
We can do that whenever, but that's an important part of this story.
I don't think anyone remembers me. That's awesome.
Yeah. I do.
Remembers me.
Doc got a wig. It's weird.
That's true.
He did. He's just as old, too.
Well, that is true. It doesn't reverse. What's the first beer we have here? Let's talk about this. Do we know this?
Be Substance.
Frankly, I don't know anymore.
Substance?
The first one?
Sorry, Bev.
On the left?
Go ahead. Oh.
It's
right.
Substance, and then the one that starts with the D that I can't say.
Diavoletto.
That one.
Okay.
And then Big Small World.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much, Beverly. So this is Substance. This is the beer.
Yep.
Very
definitely Substance. Yes. Yep.
What do you guys think of the aroma there?
Great aroma. Almost a perfumey kind of a flowery. Oh, it's really great.
Lots of conferring.
I'm sorry, I'm making a note so I don't forget about this.
Unfortunately, you might be a little disappointed because there's not a ton of sexy hops in this one. So
what's a sexy hop?
Mosaic.
Oh, come on!
Is that what those are? Those the big citrus.
Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic. Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Cascade? No.
HBC 300.
Oh, that's it. I need new pants.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I wore my rubber underwear, so I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
good.
Fine. Yeah.
So what's the ABV on this beer? And
this is about 6.5%. 6.5 on the label, and yeah, so 6.5%. I should say. Sorry, TTP.
Sure.
Man, I tell you, it smells good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got nice head retention.
So much. And for the record, this beer's been sitting here for like almost at least an hour. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, no, I think you're about 45 minutes.
Arguably
sure.
Between 45 and an hour.
To not touch a beer. Just let that be said on the record. That's a lot to just let a beer, a half pour, sit on a table.
Just hanging out.
It's still well carbonated, and it's got a lot of...
They had to handcuff us from drinking it.
Good homestand. It's good. Most of the hazy beers we drink out here are really still. Like, there's no sign of foam.
And to your credit, also, there's not a layer of sediment at the bottom of the glass.
Well, give it time.
And both I've had things that
You had some.
frankly do drive
Yes.
me crazy, but that's literally is beyond us. That's the super session. So
I have had.
That's
I
not
don't think you could pitch this, Warren.
I've had
Wait a
hazy
minute, what-
beers that, in this amount of time, have had a
fucking
quarter
open,
inch of
So
sediment
you're
at the bottom of
saying
my pint
sediment
glass.
in the vessel or in the pour? For instance, if it's a keg, sediment is that a fail?
I wouldn't say it's so subjective in the sense that like sediment, like that can mean a lot of things in terms of a
Okay, but what settles?
5-15.
Okay, so what settles in a vessel of beer? It's yeast, right? 'Cause that's the only thing that the polyphenols they're not subjected to the gravity, right? I mean,
Yes and no.
I'm learning.
Yes
here,
and
so
no.
I-
You know,
I'm not telling you. I'm asking.
Well, so am I. Yeah, and that's I think another important part of what I would like to say. That's like everyone's learning in terms of this sort of style of beer, in terms of what it means and why it's a thing that people like, people hate, and why it's something that nobody can really articulately say like this is what it is.
Now, the beer is probably referring more to like particles, chunks in the glass, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a clear layer.
That's a
of
total
sediment,
fail.
Yeah. So
In the pint.
if this beer sat here for 45 minutes and there was anything perceptible in the bottom of the glass, I'd probably walk out that door and head back to Maine. that would be a fail, yes, in that sense.
All right, I think I'm gonna try it.
You ready
I think
to
I'm
actually
gonna drink
put it in your mouth?
I'm actually really ready to do it because we had one East Coast example that didn't. I think it maybe didn't travel well, whatever. And we've had a lot of West Coast examples. So this is the first This is the thing that everybody tells you. The Bissell you have to try the. So I'm going to try it now, and I'm a little nervous.
All right, I'm watching.
Nervous. Okay,
you're gonna love it,
Give
Jason.
me a heads up. It's really good.
No, Justin needs a new keyboard.
I pretended to throw out. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
It's very complex.
All
man.
right.
That's why.
We need to break it down.
There's esters going on. There's
Yes.
malt going on.
Yes.
There's hops going on. There's all these things, but it's a hop-driven beer still.
It's
right?
yeah. It's oh god. It's weird. I feel like I'm going to trip on LSD. It's like
true tasting.
There's also LSD in it.
Oh shit!
It's going to get better
That
from
is
here.
the fifth ingredient. I'm sorry I neglected.
That's
to
the
mention
yeast.
That earlier.
Oh, turns out there's no yeast. It's just LSD.
Shit.
It's a crazy attenuator. LSD, if you pick it properly.
Past zero, you know.
Yeah.
For me, and I don't know why I'm tasting this beer visually, and I don't know what that means. So just pardon, but it's like if you took an IPA and you split it down the middle for some reason, and all like the hop flavors. It's real weird, but just stick with me, Warren. All the hop flavor came to the side, and then down the front, it's like this. Just like a velvet carpet of malt, and like when I drink an IPA, normally it's just like here it's hops and malt, and this is the thing, and this is what you're drinking.
Sure.
But this for me is kind of very segmented and but whole at the same time. I don't know how to describe it.
It sounds like you're describing a really good beer. Almost.
It's
the mouth feels very.
We're not there yet.
Soft.
We're not.
Sorry. I had to jump in when you gave me that.
He could be describing a good beer, but he's not saying whether or not he likes it or not.
No, it's.
We're waiting for that.
I'm telling you that it's unlike any beer I've ever had.
Yes.
This beer is not like the beers that we've had that are hazy.
These are the better ones.
Correct.
Can I also interject one
Totally
more thing?
different. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out to Mike Sardina because this is maybe at the moment anyway one of his top 3 favorite beers. I'm not going to speak for you too much, but I
Come
know
on,
you like
Mike,
this
you can
beer
do
a
it.
lot. Yeah, I know.
I won't argue with you guys.
Mike Sardina is probably the biggest proponent of substance ale on anywhere. Planet. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people in other planets are drinking this beer, so we can safely say anywhere. Yeah.
It does taste. There is like a citrus, like a citrus rind, like a nice developed orange rind kind of a thing, which is very pleasant. The malt, the water tastes very soft. It's not aggressive. It is very rounded. It is a very well made beer.
Thank you.
I almost threw up saying that, but
I'm going to head back to Maine. I got what I wanted, and thank you guys very much.
Have a good night.
And we're taking God, this I can't figure it out. I'm gonna sit and try to figure it out at the break. Because in my mind, when it says IPA, I want that malt, I want that separation and flavor, I want that bite. And this doesn't have that. It tastes like maybe like a strong pale ale that has some hops to it. Is that just the? I mean, that's just the style. I guess I have to get over that. Is that what you're telling me? Like you're not going to change. I have to change.
He is the problem. Is that what you're telling him?
Thank you, Warren. Co-counsel.
You're right.
Yes and no. I mean, I in terms of hoppy, relatively modest ABV beers, I feel like it's semantics in terms of what you would call it in terms of the
you're a homebrewer. You categorize some shit. Like that's what's been hard for me. Like, why are we calling it an IPA? Honestly, why are we calling it IPA if it doesn't match the flavor descriptors of an IPA?
Like, what is the ABV on this, for example?
6.
And that's exactly
okay.
Exactly.
So it's right in between in that sense too.
It's 6.5% more or less, and I would say that's why this is our IPA.
Yeah.
And in terms of our thought process, 5+ years ago.
Do you feel like you're developing a new style? Like, do you feel that, or are you just making beer that you want to drink and it doesn't really matter? Do you see what I'm saying? Are you pushing for any IPA to be its own thing so everyone can stop? So Warren and I can stop crying about how they're infiltrating a style of IPA that we don't actually drink anyways?
I'm certainly not, and also like it's not like I woke up one day and was like, I'm going to make this. Like this
I'm going to move the industry.
This is like, kind of a collective conscious thing in some regards. That like this is not our style of beer. It is our style of beer in addition to a lot of other breweries' style of beer making just as good of quote unquote examples. I would say because I do feel a little bit wishy-washy on that even being a term.
Do you?
A little bit. Yeah, I have definitely mixed feelings on it because again, going back to semantics, it's like, why does it really need to be pigeonholed into a thing?
I don't know.
It's really good hoppy beer.
Because, you're a psychologist. We're human beings.
Oh, I'm a psychologist?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me that free PhD.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Aren't you all about categorizing things?
Yeah, but don't we have to do that as human beings anyway? Like, to understand shit, that we have to do the things?
Right, which is why we call it, for the record, we tried to call it, the name of this beer, if you actually look at the name of the beer, is the Substance Ale. It's not the Substance IPA. It's not the Substance Pale Ale. It's not the Substance Hoppy Ale. It's not any of those things. The Substance Ale. And that was, even before we made, the yeast change or whatever we were talking about, it was like... we wanted to make a really good hoppy beer that we wanted to drink, and I know it's such bullshit to even verbalize.
It's like
the beer I wanted to drink.
Every answer ever.
At the end of the day, it should be true,
right?
In addition to a bunch of other factors that should also be true, and then you should also admit to.
But that's why it's every answer ever at the same time.
Exactly,
because you got into the business brewing beers that you like, and hopefully other people liked them, and you continued that, and it sounds like. Here, let's take a break because we need a break.
Why is there smoke coming out of your head?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's fuming right
Jason's
now.
mind is blown.
I'm broken.
Have to take a pause.
He broke me right now. I need to go chug a PBR just to clear the thing. No, we're going to be right back with Noah Bissell from, of course, Bissell Brothers. We're drinking Hazy IPA today, boys, and that might not be a bad thing.
And girls.
To the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
All right, 5 minutes.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support. Like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and a homebrewer's answer book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer. Whether for yourself or as a gift, when you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy.
If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewers Association at craftbeer.com, also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Hey guys, what'll it be?
I'm not sure. What do you recommend?
A lot of people seem to like the Hefeweizen.
Is that a German Hefeweizen or more of an American-style wheat beer?
I'm not sure, but I can give you a taste.
Okay, great.
The Cicerone Certification Program certifies and educates beer professionals in order to elevate the beer experience for consumers. Unfortunately, not every bar is staffed with certified beer servers who can guide their customers through a beer list.
Here you go, guys. Let me know what you think of the Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely more of an American meat. But I can hardly tell because this beer just smells like sour butter. I wonder how long it's been since they cleaned the draft line.
Yeah, and look at the bubbles on the side of the glass. It's filthy.
Somebody should tell these guys about the Cicerone program.
For sure. How about we head somewhere else for another beer?
Your server should give beer the same respect you do. Request quality. The Cicerone Certification Program offers 4 levels of beer certification, in-person classes, and course books for beer professionals. Check them out at cicerone.org. the Cicerone Certification Program. We know beer.
Hi, this is Tyler from Libertine Brewing Company on the Central Coast of California. You're listening to Brewing Network, The Session. It sucks. Does it suck? It sucks. But that's what's good about it, is that it sucks, right?
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out on The Session. The BrewingNetwork.com. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'm enjoying the show. I'm tripping out about it still. I was just talking to Mike. I was like, I'm tripping out. This is weird. It's a weird day. It's been a weird day in general for me because, I just became a lawyer. But, yeah. I don't know. But you know what's not weird, Tasty? Yeah. Great Fermentations.
Oh, yeah.
The people at Great Fermentations, they have the largest catalog of Blickman products on the entire web.
I know that from last time we talked about this.
That's true. And their staff is some of the best trained in the business on using those products. So, if you buy a Blickman product from Great Fermentations, they're going to be the ones to properly tell you how to actually use the thing.
Nice.
Which is very important. Very important. They offer top-notch customer service, same-day shipping on many items. Check them out, greatfermentations.com. They're all over social media at GR8 Fermentation. So Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Greatfermentations.com. I think we're getting a phone call.
All right.
Which is kind of cool, I think.
Please.
It might also be awful.
It might be terrible. Do you know who this is? Do you know who we're getting a phone call from? There, no.
Telling, not knowing.
Paul?
Paul.
We have a Paul on the line.
Definitely accept that. I don't know why.
Definitely accept it.
Let's see if I can do it right. What are you on the phone with us?
Yeah. This is Paul Bananas.
Hi, Paul. How's it going, man? What can we help you out with?
Is Noah Bissell on the line?
Is Noah on the line? Yes, Noah is right here. Would you like to speak with him?
Yeah. Hi, I'd like to speak to Noah Bissell.
Okay, hold on, please. Let me get in for you. Yes, Noah's right here. Hold on, please. Yes, Noah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Mr. Bissell. Is this Mr. Bananas?
Yeah, hi, this is Paulie Bananas. Coming to you straight from Worcester, Massachusetts. I had a couple questions for you.
Hit me.
One. So real quick, one.
Yes?
When can I see your son in my local bar?
Not anytime soon in Worcester, unfortunately.
Hey, hold on real quick. Did you see the game that Touchdown Tommy put on Sunday night?
The Pats are awesome. New England strong, baby. Yep. Tommy won, too.
Yes, absolutely. I have someone else here with me real quick that wants to speak to you.
I feel like I just watched some weird indie film.
A Casey Affleck number?
If someone asks me how I like apples, I'm hanging up on whoever the fuck this is. And they left. They're gone, I guess.
Well,
all right, here we
his
go.
answer's unfair.
Yeah.
All right. I'm assuming we know who that was.
No.
No?
I've never met that guy.
Good answer.
I really like potassium.
Good answer. Okay, so I was trying the IPA again, and I still haven't figured it out.
That's the idea.
You're a beer behind.
Is it? Is that the point?
To a degree, yeah.
Not figuring it out?
Mike,
within 5 minutes.
Letting every single sip be a little bit different.
Yeah. He is slow.
Mike was about to rip into me during the break. Go ahead, Mike. Ask me your question. You were going to ask me a question about categorization or something like that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Do it. Do it right now.
You had brought up, why do you call it what you call it, or what do you even? Why do you call it what you call it, or what do you even call it? And,
yeah.
I think again Noah was saying, it's the substance ale, but we also call it the flagship IPA.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in like a style, New England style IPA, whatever again you want to put a name to it. I think within that category or whatever it is, that is certainly the thing in the part of the country where I live now.
Yeah.
That beer is particularly balanced. It's got malt character, which not a lot of those beers do. It's got a very soft body and mouthfeel. It's something you want to drink again. And
Let's not go too far. I'm kidding.
But it and then I just totally am derailed.
You were about to be out-lawyered.
I do it all the time.
And then
But
I rest my jaw.
Right,
In a sea of like double IPA examples of that, the style, it's 6.5%, something you can have more than one pint of, and it's interesting, and it really is the beer that I truly enjoy most from the beer that we brew.
I mean, specifically, you had said, in a style that's quite often out of balance, anyways. Why does it matter if it doesn't have the malt, or if it has a smoother malt character than anything else? It's a paraphrasing of kind of what you say, which I think is true.
It's a beer that has character, and it's a beer that is actually a beer as opposed to juice or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
and it's a really well done example of the style.
Yeah, would you say you guys made the style, or helped push the style, or promote the style, or does it matter? Does the theme right?
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Do things like that even register on your radar at all? Like, do you really give a shit?
No, I mean,
I need you to, though. Right now. throw some smack down, man. Come on, let's go. Those dicks at
Can you ask the original before
Tired
you
Hands or whatever?
Speaking a language, I'm not sure which, but can you actually ask? Yeah.
Jesus spoke through me for a second. It's fine.
It's parcel tongue, right?
Yes, it is. No, but really, as far as the style and pushing the style, do you care if people consider you one of the pioneers of the style? Are you one of the pioneers of the style? I still don't really know the timeline, and maybe it doesn't sound like there is one. Because you guys are the one that people talk about the most on my radar.
I would say,
which is very small.
I would say a definitive no to the first question.
Okay.
I would say you said, did we help pioneer? It was the second question.
Yeah, sure. I honestly forget.
We don't remember.
I asked so many questions, man.
This is JP. Did you help pioneer the style?
It sounds like me.
Oh, wow. Did you say that?
That was
amazing.
Sounds like a good dude.
Yeah. Well,
maybe, but there's no. Maybe not, and really, that's not part of why we make substance.
You don't care, right? That's the thing. It's
very
not,
genuinely do not care in terms of developing a style.
I like that.
That is very definitive. And then the third part was another one I felt strongly on, but you have a bunch of computer technology there. Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah. I wish this was like a running commentary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just.
We got to roll it back like the court reporting machine. Exactly what it said now.
Your Honor.
I'm pretty sure I also felt no about the last question, but I don't also remember what it was.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's try the other beer. Let's try the second beer.
But there is something happening around this style and a ton of interest in it. And maybe if you don't want to own it necessarily, you should take some credit for helping define it. I guess, and maybe not just you yourself, but a lot of the other brewers that are contributing to it. I think there's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference between doing that. If somebody walked in the room and you're wearing a T-shirt that says like, "I am the Haze Craze" or whatever, then you can like, okay, this guy is whatever. But no, it's not like that.
I have 5 of those shirts.
Oh, never mind. I'm out of here.
I'm wearing them all right now.
They're all dirty.
That reminded me of what you actually asked is like, are we one of the most talked about ones? And I, not really important as long as we can sustain a business and actually live by making beer. But I definitely do not think we are one of the most talked about ones, at least in the Northeast. Maybe, top 10 or whatever, but it's not something that I
think there's only 8, so...
yeah. There's one in each state, yeah.
All right, I got you.
Exactly, yeah. But it's not, but...
I got you.
But it's not... The style part is kind of what grinds my gears maybe a little extreme. Gears are very, fragile things, and that really sucks if you grind them too hard.
They're also they're also highly grindable, so watch out for that.
Heard
some gears more than others.
The New England style IPA a lot, so the gears are pretty worn.
Okay,
and
you don't like that. You don't like that name.
The style part, I think that's grossly overemphasized in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's still being defined, or you don't think it deserves a separate style definition?
I don't think it doesn't deserve a separate style definition, but I also don't think that it's really a worthy goal to push a style forward, per se.
You don't want to self-promote on that behalf. That makes sense.
I think if you talk to any brewer or, frankly, any drinker that genuinely cares about beer, it's about beer being an enjoyable thing in a glass. It's not about...
Yes.
Maybe for you, because there's been a lot of names. Yeah. A lot of enumeration and
That's true.
Of categorization.
And a lot of that is me trying to be funny. But for me, as a beer drinker, I look on the thing and on the board and I go, a pale ale. I know what I'm going to get. A Pilsner. I know what I'm going to get. Although, oddly enough, Warren, I picked the two categories that have now since been demolished by warm fermentation and low body pale ales. Right. But the point's the same, right? Like I use the categorizations to know what I'm going to get. But I think, I don't know. I guess I'm fine with it just being a broad categorization.
Well, it's a good point. Like, I would like our beers to be classified, or at least the, probably 80%, 85% of the beers we make to be categorized as, pale ale, IPA, or double IPA. And I think, for me, that's as far as it needs to go.
Well, what about the consumer? Don't they need some sort of indication what the haze character is?
Well, the other kind of end of that is we're not pouring in Concord, California. Yeah.
So fuck us is what he just said.
It's Chinese food is not Chinese food in China.
It's expected for the region that is hazy, so that you just put IPA on the menu and that's it.
Precisely.
Is that really? Really? That's it. You don't have to state that it's hazy. Or bars don't, or whatever. It's just that's what it is.
I suppose it depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Right now, you're talking to me, so I would say that.
Okay. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm genuinely curious.
Way at all, but for me, that is as far as it needs to go, and that's kind of where beer education and education of workforce and bartenders kind of comes into play, and who is serving the beer should be able to tell you a little bit more about what, and that's beer. I mean, why would you ever drink any other beer except one beer in each style that has ever been delineated?
Right.
If that wasn't the only example that anyone ever needed. So I think that's where kind of these nuances come into play, and it shouldn't.
We shouldn't get hung up on that shit. Is that what you're saying?
Whoever's pouring you the beer and taking your money should be able to tell you kind of. Push you in one direction or the other.
Right.
And
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
I think that should be standard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, would you rather have... So, maybe kind of like you were talking about in the previous segment, you'd rather just sell the beer with a name and not necessarily attach a style to it in some cases. Maybe not every case.
I would say in most cases, for me, obviously I like beer a lot and drink beer a lot and seek beer out a lot, and, I'm really in this. But
you're not just hanging out, killing time.
Yeah. For better or worse, not killing time anymore. But I for me think that in terms of, especially in relation to sort of the movement of how craft brewers operate, getting smaller and smaller and more localized, that isn't that part of it. It shouldn't need to be that big of a part of the equation anymore. Of course, I say this in California when we've been here for 4 days, and it's kind of been hard for me to get a really great example of a West Coast IPA or a really poor example of a West Coast IPA. There's not a lot of West Coast IPAs on the West Coast anymore.
Right.
At least
because of you.
Very small.
They're on New England stuff.
Yeah. Well, I in this very small window of what I've seen, maybe I just haven't been going to the right places. And for me,
come down to Loma.
and that's totally. I'm not saying I've been everywhere. There's nothing. Yeah, it's just
what a faction.
The 10 places we've been or whatever. There's not a. That's been frustrating for me. Just as we.
When do you fly home? When do you go home?
We go home first thing tomorrow morning.
Damn it!
Yeah, I know.
Because you should go to Faction, and then I was going to say if you did,
let's go right now.
Yeah, right. I was going to say
if for the record, let me just give Mike a plug.
Yep.
Highly recommended it many times. It just didn't work out in terms of how much time we had.
And that's fine. I was going to say, and so when you come back and you maybe happen to meet Roger, just don't tell him where you work. You're just a guy because he'll cut you. He's very anti. I'll
cut you.
Yeah.
He'll cut me as a person.
He'll cut you. Yeah, he'll cut you for being a hazy brewer. Yeah.
Somebody's
He will murder you.
Don't tell him who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll cut you.
He'll cut you.
I think is what you said. It's like, that's scary. He sounds like a murderer.
He is.
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he's genuinely a murderer.
Just tell him you make hazy IPA and that you're with Bissell Brewery, and then he'll tease you, and it'll be lots of fun, actually.
Oh, yeah. If he teases
then he'll love you in the end. It'll be wonderful.
If he teases you, he likes you.
Yeah,
right.
Let's speaking of teasing, let's drink this second beer. What is it again? I forget. Someone tell me.
That should be our
Diavoletto.
Yeah. So like our 3% hoppy ale.
3%.
Yep.
Are you sure about that? Because
that's right up his alley.
That's too far up my alley, to be honest with you.
So far,
when you
backed it again, Jason.
Back down that alley
but
a
it's
little
so
bit.
far not his alley too. So I it's kind of his alley. If you average
Look, we'll
those two
find out,
things.
man. And this is what hops are in this?
This has Citra, Mosaic, and Lemon Drop.
Do you have a favorite kind of blend of hops that you use with these beers? What do you look for in hops? I guess is a better question.
Really depends on the goal, the end goal of the beer. We, in comparison to other breweries that you might lump us with, we don't make a ton of variations of beers. We have, maybe our portfolio's. Again, I fucking sound like an SKU guy, but I don't mean I don't know what other word it is. Like the beers we make,
lineup, portfolio.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't sweat it, man. You're good. You're good.
You're fine.
You're not giving off the douchey vibe.
It's not
Don't
how
worry
I
about
think.
it.
Yeah.
This guy's all business. What's going on?
Wow. He won't stop handing out. He won't stop handing out business cards.
Yeah, I have 12.
Really looking
Just
for
telling me really hard on this stuff.
where are the handles at? We need to spread in here.
What's my footprint?
We want to be in 50 states by the end of the year. So
I only see 3 handles out there. What's the problem?
It really depends on the. We maybe have go-to hops, as in good blending hops that are characterful, but they also blend with a lot of different varieties. But we don't have like go-to combinations per se that would deviate from every brewery ever making hoppy beers.
So it'll just vary kind of what you're trying to do. But you do have certain hops that you go, this is for blending. Would you ever do a single hop? Are you into that whole thing?
If we were a brew pub or were a much larger brewery, then yeah. But in terms of just what our brewery is, it just wouldn't make a ton of... Just how things have kind of naturally evolved, it wouldn't make a ton of sense. I always love experiencing the very precise characteristics of one single variety. But when we do those at our brewery, it's usually on a 1 barrel, 2 barrel type of. We have a couple 2 barrel fermenters, so it'd be like double batching our 1 barrel brew house. Right. That's on wheels.
Okay.
So and that is incredibly useful. But it's hard for me to imagine a scenario unless a hop was literally knocked me off my feet that I'd want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So of the varieties that you keep in-house, are there 1 or 2 or 3 that you're really particular about sourcing, or ones that you won't compromise on at all?
In terms of sourcing, like when you talk about where they were grown, what farmers were grown, I guess I would cop to the fact that, like, well, we're not on the West Coast, so like I don't know anyone. But
a lot of people don't on the West Coast either. It's not just a regional thing.
Well, yeah, and
the best of the best are hard to get and hard to hold on to, I think.
And to be very honest, like we don't have relationships with hop farmers of like we don't have one place where our Mosaic comes from. We don't have one place where our Citra comes from. But we kind of rely on what everyone else most everyone else relies on. That those. Comes from a bunch of farms. You can, if nothing else, expect consistency from varieties, and that's very honestly where we're at right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So what about the malts? All the 3 of the beers that are in front of me, the one we've already had, seem to be the very similar color. How would you describe the grist in say this beer here? 3%.
So this this beer is definitely the most complicated grist we have in a hoppy beer. For sure, hence the lower ABV. There's more.
Get more body.
You're kind of forced to play with more tools in that sense.
It definitely doesn't taste like a 3%. I was expecting it to be on the thin side, and it's not. There's a lot of body in there.
Well, that's pretty much the highest compliment you can well, one of the highest compliments I would say. The second highest compliment you could, the highest compliment would be like, that's really good.
Yeah.
The second highest compliment in a beer like this is that like it doesn't taste like it is, and that's kind of like we talked about a little bit earlier with lagers. Is like it's a slow burn in terms of getting people to be pumped about that.
Right.
It's not something you can just throw out there and like with double IPAs or larger hoppy beers. It's in some sense a given that people will at least buy it. Of course,
they'll pay for ABV if nothing else, right?
Yeah. Whether they'll buy it again is a whole other thing. But with these beers, you have to work a lot harder to get people to buy them once, and then
the price point's usually a kind of a diversion.
Yeah, because like with this beer, I mean this we don't have like spreadsheets of which we definitely should. And Peter tells me that all the time, and he's totally right. We should have analytics of like what exactly our beers cost to make, but I've just haven't done that yet in some. But I know enough about in terms of buying all those ingredients. Like the price differential is not that large at all.
You'd think it would be, but it's really more about the tank space for fermentation. Everything, whether it's 8% or 3%, takes the same amount of time to get from one end of the brewery to the other. I mean, sure, there's a couple, maybe some longer fermentations associated with bigger beer, but it's just a couple days.
And I mean, like hops, I think much more than some people realize, like are improportionally a larger cost of what the beer goes into, especially when in comparison to malt.
Mm-hmm.
So like Diavoletto's 3.25 about pounds per barrel of hops, where substance is like 4. So with hops costing so much more than malt, on a pound per pound basis, the price of making the beer just isn't that different because you're still using the same amount of water, same amount of yeast, or pretty much the same amount of yeast and all this other stuff.
And cooperage.
Certainly, right. So you kind of have to make a choice on whether you just eat the price and it's like, $6 a 4-pack, or if you, charge on a, exact cost basis. And that's, I think, kind of why subconsciously I've been sort of, my feet are pretty slow in terms of actually making that sort of spreadsheet. Because I think there's a nice middle ground that makes the most sense in terms of pricing beer, where volume's such a bigger thing in the long run, in terms of, in my head anyway, in terms of how we price beer.
Mm-hmm.
That makes more sense. Like some beers we following the ingredient model, we should charge more for, and then other beers we should charge a lot less for. If you averaged everything out.
Okay.
And
but
I was a consumer. I drink a lot more 5.5% beer at home than I would 7% beer. I'd go through it faster.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And probably at the same price point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This beer is another crazy beer, man. I wouldn't know that this was 3%. How do you get that? What's your secret? How do you bring that body? If you know what I mean. Pardon the turn of the phrase. Yeah. Just
Sure.
But how do you bring it?
A lot of things, and that's, I think, probably something I'll say a lot in terms of it's not a one sentence answer.
Yeah.
It's not even a one night answer in a lot of ways. But for this beer that we're talking about particularly, a slightly higher percentage of flake grain than we would use in a normal beer. Although I sometimes hem and haw in terms of how much that really impacts things going on. I would say, like, if I had to condense the answer, I think one of the secrets to this beer is Carahel.
Okay.
So that's I have about 10% of the grist in this. We were using Carapils for a while, but the idea of Carahel, just with maybe getting a little bit more out of that, with like literally written, and one of the kind of selling points of Carapils is like no flavor.
Right.
So with Carahel, I think you get a little more roundness to it in terms of like it's not really gonna dark even at 10% of the grist, like a 10 Love malt isn't really going to darken the beer that much at all.
Yeah, I mean, compared to your other beers, it's a touch darker, but
I do.
Who's going to care?
I do want to say the sample size is a little tough in studio in terms of these half-filled beers that have sat around for an hour and a half.
Yes, absolutely.
It's nobody's fault. I'm just I'm just saying that.
Well, it's your fault for not bringing enough because we needed to pour them early because they're selling.
It is true.
They're selling. So
I'll definitely take the blame on that. But I say right here, right now, yes, I feel like there's of course going to be some, just as there is probably with any variation of a style of beer within, like they can only look so different,
right? Of course.
So and then I think the addition where they I shouldn't say addition, I should say lack of clarity makes lends itself to more appearance of uniformity.
Okay.
But in terms of the grist, there's not a lot of uniformity in terms of how we construct beers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also is why we don't make a ton of different
beers because it's a lot of work to produce that recipe.
It should be a lot of work. It doesn't have to be.
Yes, okay,
And,
yes,
we
right.
definitely subscribe to the idea that it should be a lot of work to make it worth naming this beer and making its own label and all the stuff that comes with that.
Right. Absolutely.
We don't have any double dry hopped or triple dry hopped or fruited versions or whatever of our hoppy beers. It's like we make the beer in mentally anyways, like this is the best version of what this should be.
What about, let's talk adjuncts and let's talk how to do this at home a little bit. How do we those of us so inclined to brew this at home, how do you do it? Is it just the yeast? Are you pumping oats? Are you doing whatever flour, whatever people are doing, whatever the kids do today? As a young
certainly
person
not
yourself?
flour. Yeah, let me start with that.
How much applesauce per glass do you think that is getting put?
What do we
in
do? Like a gallon of Mott's per?
I knew it.
Got him.
Called it.
Got him.
And a bucket of rock.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And
no, but honestly, how do we do this? How do you do this? Let's talk about your process.
I will. So you want to talk about Diavoletto in particular?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Just because again, it's hard to talk
it's
about everything.
different.
Well, it really is. Yeah.
It's pretty typical, though, what you would do for most of your other grist, or not?
Yes and no in some way. So I'll give you literally the entire recipe for this beer, or any beer. But so Diavoletto would be about 10% Carahel, about 10% Munich, about 10% dark wheat. We use Best, but I've just in terms of supplier, we don't actually use Wireman just because of it's easier to go through one shipment, basically.
You get everything through one of your can, right?
Yeah. And that's just my own laziness. So I can't speak to the differences between any maltster in that sense, really.
Yeah, you're pointing out specific maltsters, not because the other one is something that you don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do like what we get. so I can at least
so you're fine.
I can't shit on the other one or say they're better. Yeah.
Right.
And then, so it'd be also about 5% flaked oats and about 10% flaked barley, and the rest would be Golden Promise, Fawcett Golden Promise.
That's a good malt.
And
That's a complex
you want to talk
malt
about
bill.
good malt? Yeah, I will talk about Golden Promise all fucking night.
Golden Promise is awesome. But that's one of your more complex malt bills, like you were saying earlier.
That is absolutely the most complex malt bill for a pale beer.
Got it.
Well, all your beers have great head retention. Is that wheat? Is that the wheat that's that common in most of your beers? Or
I pride ourselves in that, but I will be very honest with you. I
just comes
cannot
naturally.
Say it's this, it's that. I think fermentation has a lot more to do with it than most people would assume.
Well, then what you get out of the mash as well, in terms of the proteins that you bring forward and stuff. The foam positive ingredients in the beer.
Yeah.
I'm
not trying to hide it. I like it's we've tweaked this beer like most of our beers, like a lot in varying degrees, and that is something that I probably think about more than I should is the foam retention, because as someone said earlier, like one of I think the reasons that I hate to even say this style, Like these types of beers are, have a negative perception sometimes. Is that that element is lacking. And for me, I'm not saying it should, but for me, that is a characteristic that matters in terms of just visual appearance. In terms of like that's going to be good or that's.
Is it really?
I don't want that. Again, more than it should, but it is.
Okay. You'd rather see head retention. Like it kind of gives you a visual impression of CO2 and other things that are sort of appealing for a beer.
Yeah, there's the physical part. If it's got head retention, when you go to drink it, it explodes in your mouth. It's showing that same foaming characteristic in your mouth.
Right, it's not just visual. You get the effect of it too as well.
Exactly.
Yep. And we've been slowly getting our beers analyzed more and more because this isn't just a passive thing in terms of why they look the way they do, because it isn't like and I know, hopefully I know you guys know this, it isn't a bunch of King Arthur, it isn't a bunch of Mott's dumped in. It's something that I
Who got the
can't tell
Mott's?
you.
Yeah.
King Arthur's good flour, though.
Yeah,
King Arthur's a great flour.
If you want to do that, awesome, but I don't think you need to if your process is where it should be. But in terms of...
So you mentioned lab. So you're sending beers off to lab.
Yep.
And
we also do have a lab tech.
Yes. So we do,
basic
most of the testing you'd think of in-house, but then for, as smart as Matt is, he can't, we just don't, I should say he could do it. We don't have the money to get him the equipment to analyze the difference between how much alpha versus how much beta acids are in the beer, causing.
Yeah, some of those tests around hops are particularly expensive and tough to do. It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So just a little plug for Hopsteiner. It's where a good amount of our hops come from, and they had reached out. Just somehow they got some of our beers and were like, "This is really delicious," and it's not doesn't look like most of the beers we see here for hoppy beer. So they reached out to say, like, can we analyze these? So I was like, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, you're like a huge company that has the money to please.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did they find? What sort of stuff did they test for? I say, what did they find? Like, it sounds like they were looking for a flaw, but what were the results of the test?
Was there enough yeast for a starter?
Yeah, let's Maury Povich this thing. What are the results?
All hazy.
Shit, they're like, we couldn't 100%
It was
hazy.
a one-word response in terms of the email. It was just hazy.
They're like, our spectrometers failed. We don't know what to do.
Right. So I can. This makes no sense on air, but I can I'd be happy to show the results to all you guys. But the biggest takeaway for me in terms of where my knowledge is right now, and obviously want to continue to develop that.
Right.
Was that pretty much in terms of perceived or measurable bitterness in our beers? Is half of them are more or less half are alpha, half are beta. Is where a lot of the alpha acids in our or I shouldn't say alpha acids, bittering acids in our beers are coming from.
Okay,
and that.
What does that speak to? Like is it late hop? Is that what that is?
It definitely speaks to that in terms of the lab analysis. In terms of there's not a lot of alpha here. So I think my interpretation of that is the later the hops go, the more it lends to you're still adding hops. So I think it opens up a lot of windows for other things to happen.
Besides aroma. You talking about the cold side now or the hot side?
Both sides, really, in terms of the finished product. And again, I'm not claiming to be like, let me tell you a thing or two.
No, you're an expert, and that's fine.
Go
ahead.
Get it. You guys are audience. Yeah, it's like you're lucky I'm here.
You're reshaping the beer landscape, and that's fine. Go ahead.
Our scientists we've been talking to was like, okay, there's such a lower presence of isomerized alpha in here that definitely indicates that the much later hops, which is probably true for most breweries, period, making IPAs nowadays. I would assume. I mean, even West Coast IPAs, bitterness levels have dropped so far.
Later.
But I think it indicates that there's a hell of a lot of research to be done on what's happening in dry hopping. Because in terms of what our IBUs are measured at is technically impossible for what we're adding in the kettle. Or kettle, we don't have a separate whirlpool. So when I say kettle, it's just adding to hot wort, basically, whether that wort's at 212 or 190 is what we chill it to.
Okay.
Recirculation to the heat X to in terms of what our bigger additions are on the hot side.
Okay.
Lends itself to the idea that there's a lot more research to be done in terms of what is actually going on.
There's no good isomerization in the cold side, in the dry hop.
It's not really isomerization.
Whatever.
Beta acids are like much
Alpha
more.
is being attached.
Alpha happens, but beta are a much bigger factor in.
Well,
in
certainly
what we're
anything that
tasting in
has
this
the
beer.
flavor is going to enhance the inherent bitterness in something. I mean, if they match, right? I mean, right? There's no such thing as hop flavor that doesn't add to bitterness. I mean, it's right.
I would definitely qualify that, but I can't really even say why. Again, being very, very frank,
So back to the lab now. Obviously, there's things in suspension in the beer.
Yes.
Polyphenols.
Yep.
Were probably, I assume, the dominant thing.
Polyphenol interactions is sort of how the scientists labeled it to me. Yeah.
That means
Maybe something even bioactive.
That things are attaching to those polyphenols, which is the perceived bitterness.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like beta acids are basically the implication for, and I can cue it up and you guys can all look at it. It's not that I'm trying to walk around, but it's the implication was that you're getting a hell of a lot more bitterness from the dry hopping than you should expect. And in terms of what I've read,
perceived bitterness, though, not like old school alpha measured bitterness.
Measured bitterness.
Oh, measured bitterness as well.
And that's why it's very
Interesting.
confusing to me, because that goes against every hop calculator that you could
because it didn't take heat to convert it essentially into that isomerized shelf stable bitterness, right?
There's a I assume a lot of people listening to this would be familiar with Scott Janis's website. So he has a couple, I think 2 articles sort of about that idea of bitterness from dry hopping, and again, limited in just a guy. He's not like some huge lab,
right?
But his basic findings were that you could get a significant amount of bitterness from dry hopping, with the accepting that your isomerized alphas were relatively low. So, say a Belgian Pale or something like that.
Affinity.
So the lower IBUs you'd get in the kettle, the more you could get from dry hopping. But there was a kind of a hard wall where that was limited to. And then sort of everything I've gotten from Hopsteiner kind of throws all that information in its own face. Yeah, like I say,
we just don't know. Like you were saying earlier, there's just not enough information yet. Maybe not enough metrics. Maybe not enough well understood standards for what's happening. Everything late in the process, hot and cold.
I mean, it's relatively new as far as people wanting to know all this stuff, right? I mean, the late hopping kind of thing has really taken off in the past couple of years, maybe,
at
right?
These amounts,
right,
of hops, in the last 5-6 years or so, right?
Yeah. So for most of our beers, we would, and this has kind of actually been slowly drawn back, but I would say most of our normal IPA, double IPAs would have a calculated 10 IBU charge from first wort hopping, and then which I would just calculate as a 90, and then beyond that, so that's a pretty minuscule amount on any scale.
Yeah,
and then. In terms of pounds per barrel that we would add post-boil, but still hot, would be anywhere from 1 to 1 3/4 pound per barrel, which I'm not smart enough to quickly convert to ounces per gallon.
Neither am I.
That's fine.
Okay, wow, this is good hop information. Yes,
you
Warren,
mentioned that you cool to about 190 before doing your Whirlpool or Flame Out edition. What's the reason for doing that?
Honestly, kind of that's a relative. That's probably was in the last 6 weeks. These beers are, and I feel like most great beers that you want to be really good and continue to be really good. There's not just that's the recipe. You're done. So that was just sort of
I mean, you're always trying to tweak stuff and make it better.
Yeah.
All right.
The kind of crux of that is like there's limitations to how much you can do at one time if you're doing it commercially, or if you're doing a home brewing. It's just really a matter of perspective, I guess. But I feel like you kind of have to be a little more conscious of that on a commercial scale in terms of people are paying for what they know to be substance, what they know to be swish, whatever the beer happens to be.
Yeah.
So we've tried to slowly do that. So I was really excited about analyzing and also I'll give a huge shout out to University of Southern Maine because they've really developed just with how the beer industry is in Maine. They have really developed a lab kind of catering to this with essentially free testing, in comparison to what you do somewhere else.
Great.
So we've been, it's 2 miles or less down the road from us. So our lab guys sending stuff there all the time for just stuff we just can't do in house. So I was so pumped and so excited to see what the analyzed IBU differences were between when we were doing, not running through the heat X at all before we added, the big late edition, post boil charge versus when we were, running it through that to see, okay, 190, let's add these. So I was like, who knows, 10, 20 IBUs difference? Like 2 is what the difference was. Good to know. And that honestly shocked me.
Within margin of error, it's almost hard to say whether.
Oh, right. It was
right.
Yeah, right.
Or for sure within perception.
That? So this would have been,
I would say 1 to 2 IBUs would be hard to dial in even on like any standard production batch. If you make a process change and then you only see a difference of 2 or so IBUs, it's like, okay, was that just a batch variation or was that actually process? Is what I would ask myself at that point. Or maybe you've been noticing IBU every time is 37 for 2 years, and then you make a process change, and then it's 39 or 35. That's the difference I'm talking about.
Sure. We don't test literally every batch because it does cost money. It's not totally free, but essentially it is free in comparison to what they would cost somewhere else. Sure. Because they're just doing a pretty benevolent thing and trying to boost the industry, period. But we've tested certainly enough batches with 0 process change and 0, measured alpha change, 0 crop year change, all the stuff you generally look for in terms of, what these hops are supposed to be doing, that I was confident enough that, what am I trying to say? Like, confident enough that difference, those 1 or 2 IBU differences were like, what do I even know anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's hard to draw any real conclusion from that.
Was there any
we had
flavor?
enough of a baseline where it was like, we know what this beer should be measuring to. And flavor-wise, I was also disappointed in that sense of like, this
wasn't
taste
different
as
enough?
different as I thought it would be for this. In terms of, again, if you plug it into a calculator, so we would basically add these hops. Recirculation to get down to that temp would take 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'd have a 20 to 25 minute hot stand, and then knockout would take about half an hour. So in terms of tried to sort of estimate, splitting the batch in half, or how much is moving over, and sort of what anyone would do, trying to look at that. Nothing was basically no noticeable difference happened in terms of what 20 degrees should do for the same amount of time in terms of extracted, isomerization.
Isomerized alpha acid. Yeah, alpha acid and isomerized alpha acid, I think, is in many ways obsolete for anything but trying to look at brewery process methods. And even then, like in this case, it's only a vague indicator of what you think you're changing. Consumers don't even look at that anymore, I feel like, when they're buying IPAs. They're like, oh, IBU, whatever.
And clearly they shouldn't.
Compared to 5 years ago. Exactly. Based on all these things you're describing.
Yeah.
You're trying to affect flavor impact late in the process, where IBU is a little bit more nebulous and you want something different, more like flavor and aroma based, maybe mouthfeel.
Yep.
Whereas IBU is trying to tell you something really, really different about what's going on in the beer.
Yeah.
Right?
So the 190 is the below isomerization number. Is that that's the significance to that?
From my understanding, somewhere between 175 and 170 is where isomerization actually stops.
So what if you did 175 and you got and focused more on flavor at that? Have you tried that, like in terms of?
Certainly not, because just in terms of our process, it would take close to half an hour to even chill.
It would chew up too much of the brew day, probably.
Get to that point. And it's not even really in terms of amount of time in the brew day, but in terms of time of like, well, now we've fucked everything up in terms of what we know. Because all this other time has happened just trying to get this down to this temp.
And you're still isomerizing all that other stuff, too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And changing a bunch of other things that, again...
Changing variables you don't want to change when you're still trying to make production beer.
You're trying to do one at a time. Yeah,
I've seen brewers, and this is for like DMS purposes, but they'll add cold water after post-boil, bring it down to like above pasteurization, right? So that they're not contaminating the batch, but chill it down that fast, that quick, like instantaneously, to eliminate DMS issues. You could also do that in terms of like trying to get the more of a flavor from the hops in the whirlpool too.
Yep. In terms of how my brain works, based on the results we got on that, basically going halfway between technically where isomerization stops and where you would normally add those hops, the results were so minuscule where I was like, why would I ever try to put in that extra effort?
Sure. Interesting data, but one you won't perpetuate, probably.
And it just shocked me. Yeah, it was shocking data to me. Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll change a small variable and the impact is huge, so it's worth giving a shot, right?
Pursue it,
Well, that was all really interesting. It went right over my head. I have no idea what you guys were talking about.
Well, you must have
I was sitting here like, what is happening?
You have your law degree hat on now.
Thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that could be cloudy. I don't care. I don't give a shit about it.
I doubt that.
Well, that's true. You're right. Let's talk about something lighter, bro. Just shifting topic real fast.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. He feels... No, I'm kidding. Let's try this third beer, huh? Can we do that, please? For the love of God. What is this third beer, young man?
Big Small World.
Oh,
Big Small World, which is the pale ale with all Maine-grown malts.
Yeah, so this is an interesting beer in that sense. Faux show.
And the usual caveat, it's been sitting for 3 hours.
Oh, you've heard that before.
You must have a Maine maltster.
We do, and they're an amazing Maine maltster. They're almost a Canadian maltster.
Are they your Maine maltster?
They're still in Maine, so they're...
right on the border.
Yeah.
I said right on the border up there, huh?
Yeah,
cool.
literally. Yeah. They're so I grew up 2.5 hours north of Portland. These guys would be about 4 hours north of me. So it's literally 20 minutes to Canada or less from where they are. Yeah.
So it's grown there and malted in that.
Yeah, it's a family.
Is it a family thing? Yeah.
It is, and they've been growing barley for a long time and growing, but just with sort of brewing becoming what it's as. They've pretty recently implemented malting to the equation, and the results for me are awesome. Of course, it's a little more expensive than what you get. Like Breeze would be our normal 2-row, but it's in terms of character, there's enough there where we would completely just use their 2-row, but they're just small enough where you can't do that. Yeah, it's not going to happen for a few years at least.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of great malt character.
There's definitely a grain grain character.
I got to give one more shout out too, because there's two.
You're at your limit, dude.
There's flaked oats and flaked wheat, also Maine grown stuff, and that's from Maine Grain. That's like a basically a. Not a malt house, but a flake house, I guess you'd say.
Bev could work there.
Yeah,
rolling that shit. Roll those.
Yeah.
She's not listening.
But I can say that obviously it's a very different application, but I can say the same thing about the quality of what.
So that's adding to the unique character of this as well.
There's definitely a unique, kind of a sweetness, a fruitiness almost. Yeah, I'm gonna say it, Warren. I like this beer the most.
Because it's malty.
Awesome.
I like this beer the most.
I had that first right when I walked in and really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Really nice mouthfeel, great malt complexity.
So, okay. This might be the most asshole question I'll ask all night.
Bring it on.
Does it need to be hazy to get the flavors you're after?
No,
Okay.
It's not an asshole question at all. No.
Oh.
And
okay.
no. And thank you for asking that. It's no.
You're welcome.
If this was just
thank you for
we'd still sell it.
Thank you for saying no.
We would have
question's not an
That's the craziest thing you've said all night.
Well, and we'd have
me or him.
We'd have to qualify just like we did when we changed yeast and substance. Years ago, that the consumer that's used to a certain thing, like people, that like our beer, used to our beer appearing a certain way before they drink it, we'd have to let them know, like, hey, we didn't do anything, I promise, like, different. Like, we're not trying to, trick you into anything. But if it, sensory-wise, it checked out, like, yeah, of course we would sell it as the exact same beer. It's not an inherent component of our beer visually. I think as, lab results and, analyzation of what's happening, it might be a secondary indicator in other ways, but I can't speak to that firmly.
This is the providing same yeast to substance. This is the same yeast to substance in this
absolutely.
beer. Got it. That's what I thought.
Every hoppy beer you would have from us in the last 2 years is.
Okay. So it is a flavor component. The haze factor does lend some flavors, and the beer would be. Have you tried clarifying one of these beers just to see the flavor difference, or does that even interest you at all?
It does a little bit. The closest thing we've come to is a pilot batch. I told you we have a 1-barrel direct fire system, and we try to do pilot beers with sort of disparate members of staff, I guess you'd say. So on Mike's batch of that, the idea was basically to make a San Diego style beer.
Okay.
With our yeast.
So super terrible, tons of attitude.
Exactly.
Right. Okay,
exactly.
Good.
He's such an asshole.
He really is.
It's like the beer version of Mike.
And he won't get off the mic over here.
He's so loud. He's so loud and full of himself, dude.
Exactly.
Hate that guy.
Taking over this whole show.
So we, and by we, I mean I was present there doing other things. I was literally in the brewery, but the idea with those pilots is that it's their beer.
Okay.
So it was Mike, Paul, and
Sniff and Emerson.
Right. So it was Mike Sardina. Paul Upham is one of the most talented guys in a brewery I've ever met, and also an awesome dude. And then basically the two of three guys that distribute our beer. Formulated the recipe, and so anyway, basically everything you would do to make a I don't want to insult Mike by saying a West Coast IPA, but for me out on the East Coast,
it's become a diss.
Well, just for me,
dude.
very limited. I don't make it out on the West Coast that much, so it's kind of all lumped together.
Yeah,
in a sense. So brewed, a beer pretty much in line with how we would normally brew a hoppy beer on that system, and then added the recommended dose of biofine for the recommended amount of time.
Okay.
Biofine.
The beer was,
where'd you get that at?
And the beer, morebeer.com.
They won't.
There you go.
They won't sell it.
Sponsor? No.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure.
They won't sell it to the East Coast. There's an embargo. There's like a guy who stops ships this stuff.
Well, the biofine probably cost as much as everything else cost to make, because we brewed two. Well, again, I'm sorry to say we. Just the company. Yeah.
Sure, it's fine.
2 barrels of that beer, and then had to buy the biofine, by the ounce. So it's like,
you don't want to buy
biofine was very expensive.
What are you going to do with 55 gallons?
Right, exactly, right.
Okay, so you added biofine.
And
what happened?
Waited and waited and waited, and nothing happened. Mike can speak to it better than me. It was, again, not my beer. I was there when it was...
Mike,
there for all the steps.
Nothing happened.
Had nothing to do with the steps. But
your yeast is powerful.
Did you add more, or
We did.
Yeah.
So I think the original dosage was somewhere around 8 ounces for 2 barrels, and then nothing, and 4 more ounces, so 12 ounces total, and again
nothing.
And added, 2 or 3 weeks to the tank time that a normal beer would have? Yeah, we waited. No, it wasn't like, fuck it, it's been 2 days, we got to package this thing. Yeah.
All right.
It shocked me as well, because I was like, we don't do this. This is going to be clear as a bell, tomorrow.
Right.
And that's,
Was it a little bit clearer, at least? No?
Not really.
Wow. You have some powerful yeast for this style.
No more clear than it might be our beers might have a little bit more clarity, a few weeks after packaging. A few more weeks after packaging than they would on, keg day or canning day. But generally for, say substance, that haze is pretty permanent after that 2 or 3 weeks time frame.
Yeah.
And that was what I, from the outside, witnessed with that beer.
So the beer was very reflective of what I was familiar with at Society, and like the very, very last keg of that beer that we had tapped, 8 weeks or so, and again, sitting cold and just
settling.
Yeah, it was like the brightest.
Really? Went clear?
No, the brightest. Not bright is the wrong word in that sense.
Clear enough.
Like the haziest that Pupil ever looked at Society. So,
Really?
and then by bright, I mean like before, we racked and.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how proud were you of the fact that it didn't do shit? It didn't do anything.
Because frankly, I was ashamed because I was like, this beer's going to fucking be so clear. And Paul
Were you mad at that
were both
thought?
just like, I don't think so.
Okay.
And they were right. I was really much claiming like, we're adding a slightly beyond the recommended dosage of Biofine and giving it all this time. Like, how wouldn't it be?
Right.
And that is not what happened. So I, on a 0 is what my pride
You were
was on
disappointed.
that.
Okay, because it was a failed experiment.
Because I was pretty vocal about no, trust me, dude. Like, okay. And then, we waited however long to package it, to keg it, because, again, it's like 6 logs. It's a small amount of beer. So waited, X amount of time. And I was like, well, whatever. And a week in the keg, it'll be pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Nothing.
So I don't know what to make of that either. Maybe
How did you mix it in? How did you mix in the Biofine?
I don't know.
Okay.
However, it was recommended to mix it in.
Mike, how did you mix it in?
All right, so to me, Biofine is a yeast dropping mechanism. To me, since I'm thinking these beers are full of polyphenols, polychlor would have been probably a better choice to clear the beer.
I have not worked with that product.
Well,
so again,
to me, really what I'm saying here, it's your yeast. It's doing the thing to the beer. And that's what you want. That's what you know, and that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you notice in that particular batch of this San Diego style IPA that you saw esters drop out, or the perception of esters and phenols was different in the beer than normal?
That's what I would like to know. What effect does all this stuff have?
So I didn't taste the beer before it got the Biofine, but Paul certainly, and he's I would trust his palate almost over anybody else at the brewery.
Same.
He said, we ruined the beer by Biofining.
You guys changed the flavor enough where it's
the hop character. He said it was definitely less. So I get bright, I guess, to use that word again, but less poppy,
less bite.
Okay.
From my perspective, having not really anything to do with the recipe, it tasted like you would expect it to, in a sense of just a cleaner, overall cleaner, drier, whatever adjectives you want to use, beer, but it did not look like the appearance that you would expect to be tied with that.
Right.
Which,
Okay.
really threw me off.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's do one more beer. We have, again, 5-hour beer.
Yeah, thank God. This has been sitting out. This is like 70 degrees now?
Here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's body temperature, I think, at this point.
Let it be noted, there is still foam retention on this neglected
those are
piece of
included
shit
in my
beer that's been out here. Yeah.
No, they still got attention.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
what is this beer?
Every West Coast version of this beer would be still as hell by now.
That's the double IPA.
So the name behind that one
Oh,
is again one of Noah's, I guess.
Yeah.
Not obsession, but certainly
no, that's fair.
One of his passions being the show Seinfeld.
Okay.
So this beer is
Seinfeld reference.
I'll
Pretty
let
gigantic Seinfeld fan.
I'll let Noah explain it.
Yep. So I guess I'm a little bit worried about copyright, and isn't Seinfeld somehow owned by Steve Bannon slightly? You mentioned Trump, whatever. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that.
JP's the lawyer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can tell you, you're fine. You're all right.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Very
it's fair
encouraging.
use.
Thank
You're
you.
fine.
Thank
You're
you.
right.
It's called JP Law Center.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, go to jplawcenter.com.
But anyway, I won't say one of my favorite episodes, but probably my favorite scene in the show period is Kramer's going undercover, trying to deduce whether or not this accountant is a cokehead, basically.
Okay.
And dresses very much unlike Kramer, acts very much like Kramer. Meets this guy at a bar, and chugs an entire beer while smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
Literally puffing the cigarette as he chugs it. And right before he does that, he says, "Here's to feeling good all the time." So that's where this beer name comes from. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was except for Big Small World, which is there was 2 other hops in that, but it was the first time we got to use like Galaxy kind of as a not showcase hop, because it's still probably 50 to 60% of the total hop bill in it. But that's one of those hops that Citra and Mosaic have become a lot more available to everyone, even in quantity. But Galaxy has not.
Yeah.
You just no.
Can't wait to get that.
Yeah,
it's very small amounts, and it works really well with a lot of the esters that are going on in this particular yeast that you're using. I think.
Thank you very much.
Nice, really nice.
And I guess to call back to earlier in the show, Mosaic is used in this. Mosaic would probably be our go-to blending hop, I guess, to fill in gaps in terms of just. It can do so many things in terms of what else is added with it.
I knew there was one.
Yeah.
One. There can only be one.
So you have this really, really broad range of hop flavors going on in a beer like this. And it sort of meets all the complexity of the yeast, I think. It's really neat.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a super interesting beer. That's all I got. That's all I can do. That's all I can do right now.
This is officially my favorite New England IPA because of the Seinfeld reference.
It's my ace in the hole.
Yeah. Warren's all about marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, you put lipstick on a pig, and he's like, "Hey, that looks great. Let's do this."
As long as it's Jerry Seinfeld's lipstick, then it's fine.
Skin colored.
Yeah, this is again, it's weird. It has the bitterness of a double IPA. It doesn't have that kind of like cloying body, like the caramel malt kind of body thing to it. But there's body. It's a smooth body. It's a smooth malt,
so it's
which
about,
is unlike a double IPA for me.
So it's
West
like
Coast.
about 80% Pilsner and 20% Spelt. It's probably the simplest. Yeah, almost the simplest grist we use for any hoppy beer.
And you have so much complexity going on. Otherwise, it's almost like, and it's a higher ABV beer. Just let everything in the malt bill get out of the way a little bit. And there's still malt complexity. It's not like it's missing.
Is that the yeast in suspension and water profile? Is that kind of attributing to some of this body that we're experiencing here?
Yes, for sure. I think in addition to a lot of other things, in terms of I think water profile matters, but I think I'm again, in terms of analysis of our beers.
Yeah,
I for a long time was obsessive about 5 ppms of whatever mineral in our beers. Then we just kind of for shits and giggles one time sent 3 or 4 of our beers out for analysis.
Yeah,
just mineral composition in the final beer, and I wanted to crawl in a hole and because they were so far away from what they should have been, and that's because of malt. Malt
brings most of the minerals.
Malt brings in these things. It was like, why are you obsessing over these very small amounts when you can't really predict at all what malt's going to bring to the table? And
pH they bring to you.
Yeah, and pH I still obsess over, and I do think that is. I still think that's a really important part, but in terms of...
In fact, I was going to comment that your beers are nice and crisp, which to me I associate with a lower end pH.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we definitely shoot the target, the lower end of the recommended target for mash pH, and then the idea is
carry that through.
Tweak other things throughout, but the idea is if you start there, you should it's the right first step. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent. So what yeast do you use, dude? Come on. Let's get over this.
All right.
We've been waiting this whole time.
Number or a white lab
let's
number.
Get over
Something
this.
that's close.
Let's get to the hard hitting question.
His clue is not too far from Chico, so I'm figuring it's that Redding strain that everyone's been talking about. Maybe Sacramento.
Maybe Wairika. Well,
or it's steam yeast.
It's actually a local strain that we cultivated from a dumpster.
Shit!
So it's like a
juicy. It's fruity.
With a Chico sticker.
It was this weird company
outside of a Vermont brewery.
They produce both bullion and juice products. It's like this weird company that is I guess it was like a conglomerate. I guess you could say in Portland. I'll be very honest because I think that it's a part of it, but it's not the whole part of it. We use, I guess it'd be we use A72 from BSI, which you're told is the equivalent of Anchor's Ale. But that's, I don't know. I didn't cultivate it myself. I didn't do any of that myself. So,
So closer to the lager end of the spectrum in terms of its original heritage, maybe.
Warren made a joke and nailed it.
I mean, with all the open fermentation, it's really hard to say because there should be, a warm fermented lager strain in that brewery and a regular ale strain, but I'm not that brewery, so I don't really know. It's just what I got from my. That was what attracted me to it, but I'm not taking any credit from that. But I liked the idea when we were trying to look for a little bit of a bump in ester profile, but not going the same road that I felt at that time that everyone else was going down. That it was kind of a nice middle ground in that sense. And like I said, we've committed to that yeast, and I think the commitment element is something that is overlooked by a lot of breweries trying to add yeast to the, yeast profile to the, the whole package of hop.
So that yeast will take a bunch of different temp ranges, I would imagine. Do you play around with that in terms of different beers that you make in the portfolio, or do you like to stick to a particular temp regimen?
We have a little bit, but haven't got a ton of feedback for it really mattering. To be totally honest, so we'd go pretty standard for still, pretty standard recommendations for what you do. You dial it down a couple of degrees for bigger beer. More fusels, but have not have done a lot of things within reason, within the 60 to 70 degree reason of normal ale strain, but I've
not like 52 or 75 or anything. No. You're talking about like kind of standard ranges.
Again, maybe on the
one day,
barrel, but
in one day.
Maybe on the 2-barrel system. But even then, like for a little bit where I've been a little more adventurous, it's we've all been a little more adventurous. Hasn't given me enough of a feedback loop to say that's
it's worth doing.
Yeah,
got it.
Because I think it does have enough of that clean characteristic where you can get a little bit more or a little bit less out of it, but it's not as dominant as it could be with, again, sort of the normal path you would go is I want to brew a New England style IPA. And I think I think it's just an overlooked thing in terms of just trying to think pitching rate and aeration and the myriad of other factors that go into what's in a glass are just as important. In a sense, depending on what you're looking for. Okay.
Did you visit Anchor on this trip?
We totally did, and
nice. It's a cool place. It's beautiful.
And the third plug at least for Mike on this trip is he was the impetus for us to do this in the first place. But so. You might think he's a nice, soft-spoken guy, but he tricked the shit out of me by taking us on this amazing private tour to Anchor, where he was like, I was under the guise that we were going to go visit one of his old buddies at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, I don't got anything else to do.
Right.
So I was
I don't got to be at work.
It's I don't know why you want me to meet this person so bad, but whatever, I really like you, so let's do it.
Right.
And, the Uber shows up and we're outside of Anchor, so I was...
Nice.
Yeah, jaw dropped.
You got him, Mike. You got him.
Yeah,
roasted.
You absolutely did.
Well done.
Mike. Yeah.
Well played, man. Well played.
And that tour was, in the... I never forget that, how amazing that place was.
It's dope, dude.
Yeah,
it is an unforgettable place to be. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm glad you got to go there. That's cool.
I felt a little bad, though, because I never... Zhao? Yeah. Zhao, I believe, is that... It's a I'm not a linguist, so I'm not exactly sure the proper pronunciation of his name. But I think
that's fine.
I think Zhao is the closest I can get. We never was amazing and took time, but we then had the city beer store thing, so we had to go. So it wasn't that I was trying to hide it, but it never really came up that I wanted to kind of bow down to be like. But I also don't know enough about yeast taxonomy tax.
Sure.
To be like, that's it. I didn't go in there at night and grow it up. So I don't really know. I think there's a lot of miscommunication in that sense too. So it's
I'm sure.
I was more than happy to talk about it, but I also couldn't really talk about it confidently to say thank you.
You're just doing what you were told, right? It's this is the thing that we're told, and so I
that
get
never came up in conversation. But let it be stated on the record, Your Honor,
Thank you.
That is,
Thank you very much. And that is the highest honor I've ever been paid. So
now you're a judge
jokes
of small claims court.
These are just jokes. Keep rolling out.
Well, JP gave me a free psych PhD earlier, so I'll make him a lawyer.
Oh wow!
You want another one? I'll give you a double master's. I don't give a shit,
This
dude.
is
It's
the
free
problem
for
with
me.
the academy.
Right. Thank you very much.
Get the robes on.
Yeah, let's keep it going. You'll be a Supreme Court justice before you know it.
Wow!
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
I like this new government.
Well, have we asked all the questions? Have we asked all the hazy beer questions?
I need to say something, though.
Okay.
It's not a question.
Oh.
It's just, I
Can
don't
you,
want this
can
to
you
get
put
forgotten.
it into a question form?
What is the dankness? And that's what I
The
want to talk about.
dankness.
Yes.
Oh, old
Yes.
school homebrew
Yes.
stuff. I think
Exactly.
I
Is
think
this
you know what I'm
Nate's
talking
beer?
about, Noah.
Is this
Yes.
your beer? What is
Yes.
this? What is the
Yeah.
dankness? I forget.
This is a homebrew recipe that made a Triple Rock once. That was one of the showcases of it when we talked about it on this show.
Yeah, okay.
But it was a showcase of some of the late harvest stuff that I thought was particularly intriguing. It's not really the perception of it, like the stuff that you'd get from Hopsteiner in particular.
When you used to come on the show all the time.
When Apollo was new and all that stuff. Yeah, when I used to come on the show. Who is that guy?
When Nate used to
You're
like
trying to call
us?
me out right now, Jason.
Oh.
Wow, the full name.
Not even your honor.
No. No. I'll see you in my chambers.
Oh, man. This guy's going to try and deliver some justice now, but he's got nothing. This guy.
Oh, I got frontier justice.
He's going to bring the hammer.
Yeah. What about the dankness?
West
What
Coast
yeah.
IPA with definitely some late 2000s hop varieties. It definitely was part of the deal there. What did you do with that beer? You made it your own. Talk about this a bit, Noah.
So, long story short, the dankness, again, listened to Can You Brew It all the time, and that recipe came up, and in summation, that was really the impetus for Substance. It's changed a lot since then. But
nice one.
So you're saying the hazy beer is Nate's
it's
fault?
Nate Smith's idea.
I'm taking credit right now. That's
it's Roger's
awesome.
idea. Because I was a pro-am, so I think it's really Roger.
Oh, this is even better. He would love it. He would love that.
You know, I want to call his ass.
Somebody's getting cut tonight.
I really want to call him on the phone and tell him this. That he's the grandfather.
All these hazy beers have diacetyl. What the fuck?
Well, Roger, it's your fault.
Yeah.
But
should we call him? No. So that's a good compliment.
That's awesome, Noah.
really
Thank
cool,
you.
man.
Well, it's not even it's just fact in terms of like
this is how the BN works. Like before I was before anyone knew me at all for being on the show, is me taking ideas from McDole and from Jason.
Yeah.
Warren wasn't here yet.
Yeah, no one takes ideas from me.
Please say was and Justin was trying. So
he was trying.
And I
Yeah.
feel comfortable saying that because I
So this
definitely
all
do know the
continues.
beer is
Thank you.
different enough now where I didn't steal anything. I
Oh,
can
hell
safely
no.
say
Even
at
if you
this
did,
point.
I'd be like, dude,
But,
that rules.
Yeah, but I mean that's homebrewing, right? It's inspiration.
Exactly.
You take
Yeah,
something, and we've
exactly.
told people on the show for years. You know that as well as anybody. Brew a recipe that you've heard from someone that you trust, and then make it your own, and then just that's kind of how shit evolves, man.
Yep.
So don't worry about
Definitely
it.
plagiarism early on because it was like, I'm going to brew this exact recipe.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it something slightly different in my,
That's
Farmington,
intent,
Maine
and I'll sue,
apartment.
and Nate will sue you for that.
Right.
So it's fine.
But then it was, and obviously that changed anyway. But then in terms of, I never would have ever considered using Apollo or Summit in a beer.
Right.
And marrying that with a juicy, new school hop. And that was really the idea that matters in that sense. And then even if I wanted to marry it with Citra, I couldn't have because I was an idiot and we had no hop contracts.
And there's
whatsoever
almost
when we
impossible
opened.
to get,
that. So
probably.
you're right. So exactly.
Wow, no hop
times have
contracts.
changed, but so
Good job.
Centennial and Falconer's Flight kind of filled that void of
Absolutely.
that. But the idea was,
You're taking the hops you had available to you, these big resinous, high oil content hops, and then making it your own and making it work.
Yep.
That's
And,
the spirit of it. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
And but we would not be what we are without that homebrew recipe.
That's dope, dude.
I need to have a little glass of that before I leave again and
yeah.
ponder this idea.
Yeah.
Where the dankness could go.
See-
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noah. That rules.
Yeah, I mean it, man. Yeah, I thank you.
That's cool, dude.
Thank all you guys
Yeah.
for doing this show.
Well,
Thanks for sharing all that.
I see in the notes you're opening a second production facility. Does that mean that you're expanding distribution, or is that to fulfill the demand that's just local and whatever?
Basically, neither in a sense.
All right,
well,
fine.
I guess it mostly.
Well, fuck
yes.
me. What do I know?
Yeah.
You're going to make more beer in random
Yeah.
places.
I guess.
Tell us
sort
about
of-
your portfolio. Come on.
Yeah. How many SKUs you got?
Right.
I guess yes, pretty much to the first question. So the second production facility is in a place that, on paper, no one should ever open a brewery. Period. It was in my the town that I grew up in is super rural Maine. Not in a negative way. I think it is the poorest of the 16 counties in Maine.
Really?
Okay.
2,000 people population there.
Bringing jobs there, man.
Hopefully.
You're going for the
Right
cheap,
on.
you said you went for the cheap labor.
Yep, that's the. Well, yeah. I think the labor will
You
be
and your brother.
effectively free because I think the labor will just be me for a long time. But basically the idea is we've kind of been playing with fire for a while. Is dipping our toes in funky water for a while, and it's worrisome in terms of having all that in the same brewery. So the idea is to really have something I've been passionate about for 2 solid years. Is a typical progression for brewers or home brewers or whatever you want to call me. I feel like I'm both. Production and home brewer still.
Yeah.
But it made the most sense for if we were going to do it anywhere that wasn't in our present facility, even though it was 2.5 hours away. The only other place to do it was in Milo. So that's really what that's going to.
What are you doing there?
We have not. So basically, we scaled up to. We started with a 10-barrel system, rode that for a while, and then swapped that out with a 20-barrel system. And
That's what you're on now?
yeah,
Okay.
so swapped that out, so didn't have to swap out fermenters or anything like that. Just the brew house. So put in the 20-barrel and then ship the 10-barrel up to Milo. So that's been there for a while. So it'd be a 10-barrel kit and then a couple FVs, but mostly oak. In terms of just a playground in a sense. Yeah, playground in the most important sense. But it'll be mostly funky beer brewed there and its own facility.
You're going
a
a sour route.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We got a 2.5 hour drive. You could decontaminate in that distance.
Right. It's a lot of time for podcasts.
Have to get naked a couple of times.
How cloudy are they going to be?
Those are going to be clear, dude. Come on.
I don't know,
Who fucking
man.
cares?
Right.
That's really what it matters.
And
How
that's
good,
a-
how
After
good
9
are the
months,
beers
here we
going
are
to
right
be?
there.
Is
Well,
what
right,
it's about.
and really that's the sense that I get at all this. And so I don't want to, I have a bunch of questions, but just for my own personal edification, I'm not going to ask him because it's just belaboring the point about the haze thing or whatever. But I appreciate the fact that you are just trying to make beer that tastes good, and you don't really give a shit what people call it or how it looks. I guess hazy or not, it doesn't matter. If it tastes good, it tastes good, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
It's not it's an easy cop out to
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to fall back on. But
this is the Brewing Network. We're all about copping out. It's fine.
If it's easy, take it twice.
Yeah.
Make it a good bit if you're going to cop out. Come
That's
on.
true. It's not a cop out though, Nate, and I'm going to tell you this to your face, and I want you to remember it. God damn it, because I tell you all the time. The
I'm looking right at
AHA.
you.
The AHA
is not a cop
American
out.
Homebrewer Association. If you need to re-up your membership, you should do it through our website. You can click on the renewal or whatever. There's a button there, I'm sure. Then you push the button.
I do actually. Can Dustin pay for that?
You invoice him.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, invoice him for that. And then, you can use Be an Army 17 if you do it right from the website. And then that is our affiliate link there. And we will give you 2 free books with your membership. The books are Brewing Local and For the Love of Hops. So the AHA, visit the AHA's website, AmericanHomebrewers.org, which stands for, I don't know, I'm not clever enough to make up something funny.
Organization.
And you get discounts all over the place.
Nailed it.
That's true.
For being a member.
You do get discounts all over the
At
place.
breweries, and even some beer bars even.
And grain and feed stores, I heard, right? Redemption centers, supermarkets.
Oh, wow. Anywhere.
Yeah, if you turn in your liquor bottles, you don't get
stores.
5 cents, you get 10 cents. You have to show your AHA card, and it's great.
Anywhere things are sold.
Right,
Flash
exactly.
your AHA card.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Nate's here with his Drake's jacket on, so that reminds me to also tell everybody to go to Drakes.com, drinkdrakes.com, find out where to get their beers. When you're in the Bay Area, you got to stop by Drake's.
Drinks of 1500. It's great.
Drinks of 1500. Speaking of Roger, that was Roger's recipe. I know it's changed now, but
yeah, that was his OG old school.
We talk too much about Roger sometimes.
Did he start beer?
Why are you talking about
He
me?
started a lot of things.
He's that dude from Mesopotamia, right? He's that guy.
Right. Noah, thanks, man. Thank you for all the information. Thank you for sharing the things. And it was really cool to have you guys here. Hester, you too, of course, and maybe Mike, but we never know. I think of this style, and I know you don't necessarily like to hear the style thing, but I think these are some of the best beers that I've had of the hazy, the genre.
Well,
and so I appreciate that.
Coming from an asshole like you, that is very nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
Very nice to hear.
Well, you're welcome.
That was a perfect response.
It pretty much was. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to do Warren's Twitter game. We're going to find out what he's going to purchase for Kim for Christmas.
Yes.
Warren has some beer we're going to try. So if you guys want to stick around and drink some of Warren's beer, that's cool. If not, if you want to go out and drink some more beer in the bar, feel free to do that. And we'll be right back, everyone. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Check out their brand new patent-pending mash and boil 110-volt electric mashing and boiling unit. This compact all-stainless unit lets you mash, sparge, and boil just about anywhere that has a 110-volt plug. Double-wall construction adds to efficiency and safety, and a precise thermostat keeps temperatures where you want them. Unlike insulated buckets and converted coolers, multiple temperature rest mashing is easy to do, all for under $300. They also feature the Mark II work pump, a magnetic drive high-temperature pump that does the work of pumps that cost twice as much, as well as exclusive Brewer's Edge regulators and quality Keg King kegs and disconnects. Check them out today at williamsbrewing.com to brews their vast selection. With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. The end of the night when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore. That's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out.
What?
Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love.
With love?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where?
Moylan's.
You gotta try it on tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
All right, thanks everyone for hanging out. A few commercials there for you, and that's hey man, if you're listening live though, you got some meatloaf And you got some Guns, G and F and R.
And something you called dancing.
Some Night Train.
Bev and I were dancing, and it's fine. It's fine. Just don't tell Sam, and it's fine.
Oh, I don't think Sam will miss out on whatever that was.
You just always leave room for Jesus.
And Sam.
Right. Speaking of Sam, have you visited the vault for homebrewers yet?
The vault? What's in the vault? Tell me more.
Oh, it's White Lab's collection of specialty, one-of-a-kind strains where you're able to pre-order and decide which strains are released to homebrewers. All you have to do is visit whitelabs.com/thevault and place a pre-order on the strain you would like to use. Once it reaches 150 orders, White Labs will release the yeast and, where'd I go? And ship it directly to your doorstep.
Like WLP 510?
Like WLP 510, like WLP 066, which is the London Fog Ale yeast, which has already been released twice from the vault. So don't miss out. Check it out. Go there now. www.whitelabs.com/thevault.
Good option.
It's quite frankly the only option. Let's be very clear about that. Let me sign off on this, John. We have Kim's favorite Adam and Eve library to do soon.
Oh, is Kim going to read
I have
it?
an empty glass, and I see beer over there.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I don't even have a... Oh, yeah, we have glassware.
Bevo didn't bring all of the glassware we needed.
Bev's going to pour these, so we are drinking Crowlers
I'm not drinking out
Warren's
of little,
beer.
can't get your nose in them glasses.
Oh.
What did you bring for us to eventually drink?
The first one is a beer called The Midnight Idol.
The Midnight Idol. That sounds really stupid.
It's Neil Young's nickname.
Yeah.
Neil Diamond. Neil Young? I don't know.
Neil Diamond, yeah.
Some Neil.
Yeah, there was a Neil who sings.
Okay.
And
what was he singing? Like,
oh, thanks, Kim. I was asking for the can, but it's fine.
It's mainly a reference to one of Bubbles' cats.
The Midnight Idol?
Well, whichever Neil this beer is named after is the name of one of Bubbles' cats.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay then. Vale Pit Trailer Park Boys reference.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Right. It's a black lager, Schwartz beer.
Speaking of Trailer Park Boys.
Yes.
Your beer, whatever, it's fine. Apparently, like, giving your kid a nickname is like in utero is a thing. Especially if you don't know the sex of
it's
the
not
baby.
too late to get in on this.
Oh, right.
Right, well, right. So I'm like, so
Roy
Taryn
Moore would do this.
Yeah, and Taryn tells me this. I'm like, oh, okay, that's real weird, but, whatever. What nickname do you give a thing, a baby that you don't know the sex of?
Wait.
You can't do the thing.
Is this our Twitter game?
No, but it should have been. It's a good... God, Nate, this is why you need to be here more often.
It's not too late. Let's do it now.
Are you having your kid between now and the next show? It still could be.
You never know.
A nice beer.
Nobody listens to the last hour, so they're not going to remember it. So you can introduce it next show. It's great.
So it'll be fine. So I'm thinking, like, well, what nickname do we, I want one of Bubbles' cats.
Yeah.
So we call him Gary Laser Eyes.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I thought I'd share
Gary
that with
is
you.
pretty
sexual
in terms of being male.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'll just call it Laser Eyes or Gary Laser Eyes. If you run it together, it's one word. I think it's fine either way.
Okay,
but I don't know. There you go, nickname.
Nice.
I don't know. Anyway, what is this black lager? What does that mean?
Well, it's Schwartz beer.
Brewed as a traditional Schwartz beer, straight up to style, all those kind of things.
That was the goal.
Did it happen?
But there were a lot of German words on the menu, and so I was asked to come up with a different name.
Sure.
So black lager. I just translated it.
German words on the menu. You mean
like Kolsch, Vienna Lager,
okay.
Doppelbock.
Yeah.
Schwartz beer would sound like, what is this, a German beer?
Exactly, yeah.
They're like, you're making beer. Stop being so German. Wait a minute.
Right. So black lager.
I definitely get the Schwartz beer part of it. It seems bigger than a Schwartz. What's the ABV on this?
4.8.
Wow, it seems
really, yeah.
And it's
a lot of good body, man.
The final gravity is
I like that
10-13-ish, I would say.
Yeah, that's the body, yeah.
Yeah. This is our fall seasonal.
Yeah, it's nice.
One of my favorites.
Like the pH, it's not low because it's dark. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a bitter. It's a little bitter for me.
Bitter?
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Should it be?
Well, to me, the roasted malt is kind of building on the hop bitterness. In this, this is the second time we've brewed it.
Yeah.
Since it's the second fall we've been open.
Right.
And I got this batch to be a bit drier than last year's, but I didn't change the percentage of roasted malt year over year. And so the one takeaway I have for this batch is to next year reduce the roasted malt a little bit.
Right.
Because I think it's a
Which
bit
will
too
also
roasty.
reduce the bite.
Exactly. The perceived bitterness. Yeah.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That's tasty, man.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, 'cause there's
the difference you made, that change you made, that's great.
Just a slight lingering roastiness, but that's like a fine tuning thing. It's still a really, really clean, super well fermented beer.
Yeah, I enjoy it, especially with the weather actually getting colder finally.
Yeah, people like dark beer when it turns cold.
Yeah.
You should bring more of this for me tomorrow.
Okay.
If we see each other tomorrow.
We might see each other tomorrow night. We will, actually. I got an email.
Oh, we are doing that tomorrow
Yes.
night? All right.
Oh, I like meetup sex. That's
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
bring in beer.
happening tonight. Recovery's tomorrow night. Yeah. No, we were recording our Heads and Tails podcast, right?
Yeah, so how many you got in the bank? I mean, how many have you done?
Well, we had 3, and then...
You're keeping them all, or are you going to throw a couple away?
Are they leaving? No, Mike's not leaving. Anyway, no, and then we had a technical issue, so we have to, re-interview the guest for half of the show. It's a big pain in the ass.
That's why you have, that's why you get it.
It was Lost Spirits out of Los Angeles.
Oh.
And you don't like peaty, smoky. Do you guys like...
I don't drink any hard alcohol.
I do. You
should try some of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a really good beer, Warren. Thank you very much. What else do
you're
you have?
welcome.
Let's do another.
Then we actually have the Christmas or holiday beer, depending on what your persuasion is.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a Kwanzaa beer, it could be a Hanukkah beer.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But it's a Doppelbock, officially, called AC Slator, because
You're a...
Tor.
I can't even say the word that you are right now. Bev knows because I was saying it earlier in the day. Yeah. That's what you are.
Okay.
You're one of
I'm
those.
one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
AC Slator.
Yeah, it's just like a snow sleigh tour kind of thing.
Right, it's spelt sleigh like the snow sleigh.
Yeah.
Like Salvatore.
Right.
Or...
Yeah, exactly. Because German Doppelbocks end historically in Tor, and so sleigh like Christmas.
Sometimes, do you ever think that you're maybe too clever for your own good? Sometimes.
No, I don't think so.
Well.
It's so good, it's not obvious to the
right. Well, what
Italian,
ties it all together is the fact that we have a picture of Mario Lopez in a Santa hat, shirtless, standing in a pool of water wearing jeans.
I'd buy it.
Sold.
Yeah.
That's what ties it all together. That's what you're worried about, is tying it all together.
Yeah, that's what really helps it sell well with all of the Cougars in Los Gatos.
So how do you make? Why is this a Christmas beer? It looks great. It smells.
The only thing that makes it a Christmas beer is that it's a Doppelbock, which is typically brewed around seasonally in
Arguably.
Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't add any spices?
Oh, no. I wanted it to taste good, so I didn't add any spices.
I love how you roll, Warren. I love how you roll.
It tastes a little bitter.
A little bitter.
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking, because it seems like for every beer you bring in, it's always like, they taste a little bitter.
They might be too fresh. Sometimes the bitterness is like up front.
Damn it, Warren. This is good, too.
That's actually good.
Oh,
beer.
wow. Thank you.
Yeah, they're both good, man.
Yeah, so this is a 7.2 Doppelbock.
Wow, that's nice.
Just traditional 6-week lagering process.
Here, sit down here, Noah. Get some beer for the homie, dude. Nah, man. Nah, bro, it's all good. Bev, would you? Well, here. Well, he can do it. He has hands. He has 2 hands. He can do it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a nice little
Is there a good dose of Weyermann Munich in here?
That is a
yes.
Schwartz beer. Yep.
So the malt bill for this is...
for the Schwartz beer?
No, for the Doppelbock.
Okay, all right.
Is some Karamunich 3, Pilsner, and some Munich. Munich 1, all Weyermann.
All right.
Munich 1. I've got this distinct taste of Munich 1 in this really wonderful way. It's nice.
Yeah, that's good, man. I like that. Good work.
Thank you. To me, it's a good Christmas beer.
Doppelbock.
Just because it's strong, caramely, but not really sweet.
What's the ABV on this motherfucker?
7.2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that within style?
Barely. It's on the low side.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You got to throw a 6-foot in the freezer there at the restaurant.
Yep.
Keep it for later.
Icebox.
Totally tasty. This would taste really good with that pre-treatment.
Yeah, I could maybe do that.
Should do that.
If it wasn't illegal. Isn't it illegal?
I mean, I wouldn't sell it. I don't know what would happen to it.
You go like the Santa Claus route with this profile would be great.
Right.
That's tasty.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought bring a Christmas beer for the Christmas episode.
It's really good. This is it. Oh, that's right. These are last.
It's our last show
before Christmas.
until the 15th of
For the year.
January.
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, in the next year.
2025.
You're right. We're actually taking 8 years off. It's going to be amazing.
Maybe I'm going to Iceland or something. I'm not.
These are very good. Warren, no, you're not. You can't even see through it, so it's right up your alley.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
It's crystal clear.
This is really delicious. Yeah. Well
Isn't that
done.
great?
Yeah.
Like, after all those IPAs.
Where's Sardina? What are you
Eric,
Eric, get
the
out of
show's
here.
still happening.
We sent him out for Chinese.
Oh, okay.
Eric, Mike's meeting all the people out there. Probably
doing the meet and greet, representing.
That's what he does.
All right.
Better than anyone.
That's true. He's a good dude. Okay. Anything else impressive about your beer? Or
Got a third beer?
Yeah.
No,
How long have
just
you been
the two.
homebrewing? What? So when you
Since
open
2009.
when you open the, no, thank you very much, Warren.
Are these the
You're
same
welcome.
yeast? Let's go one.
Yes.
Let's go one technical round here.
Actually, the yeast for the Doppelbock came from the Schwartz beer. So,
Nice.
Because of tank space and fermentation time, we've only been able to get 3 rounds of yeast, or 3 generations of yeast with our lager strain before we just run out of space.
You want to give a shout out to your favorite lager strain on these?
So far we've only been using White Labs 830. So this is just their go-to
Straight up
lager.
830,
Yeah.
nice.
All right. Well,
Mike, here, have some beer.
turn over the ferments faster.
That's a beer. This can is a beer can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this can is a
I'd
beer
rather
can.
get more fermenters and give the lager the right amount of time it should have.
Have you got room? Have you got room for more fermenters?
We have room to expand the size, so we're always gonna be limited to 5. But right now we have a mix of 10-barrel and 20-barrel fermenters.
You can go taller.
So exactly, we can go taller and we can go a little bit wider.
And is management open to that kind of thing? Or
Yeah, and it's going to happen.
Okay.
But we also have serving vessels that can get expanded as well, up to 20 barrels. So it'll be something that'll happen sooner rather than later, cool. and so that will allow us to also brew more lagers as well, in addition to more ales.
So on the business side, is everybody happy with the beer sales and the margin contribution and all that?
Yeah.
From what you know.
As far as I know,
your bonus.
Our sales have actually gone up. Let's see, we're up over 33% from last year.
Nice.
And actually, the sales mix, the lagers are increasing. And
nice.
So
make more of those.
It does help that the brewery that was in Las Gauss before us was a German lager house. So I think that audience is there.
I think they've had Schwartz beers in Doppelbocks like you're presenting here, or
I have no idea.
Like lagers, light lagers.
I have no idea. I only went to the Las Gauss Brewing Company once, and that was years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was years. Yeah. I remember being there, and that's about as much as I remember.
Cool.
Well, you know what I remember? Is using Beersmith. Because once you use Beersmith, it's so unforgettable, you can't help but remember it.
Like you do.
Right. So go to beersmith.com, get your 21-day free trial, and then you're going to forget all about any other sort of myriad of I want to say relationship, but that's not the word I'm looking for, of beer calculating softwares out there. There's a bunch of them out there, but Beersmith is the best. We all know that. It's it's the greatest.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's free for 21 days. If you don't like it, you're not out anything.
You'll forget how to use your abacus.
Isn't it Myriad Software?
Oh, fuck you. And fuck Justin for saying that. God. The one thing I do good in the universe, he had to fucking pull his pants down and...
Well, you're not... Neither of you are wrong.
You know what,
right?
Warren? You don't have a microphone anymore. That's done. Yes, you can go home now. It's fine. Let's do the Twitter game. What was the Twitter game, and who's going to do it? First of all, is it going to be Justin? No, is it going to be Warren? Is it going to be Beverly? Who's going to be? Beverly.
Gonna be me.
You're going to finish. Wow, why are you yelling? What was the Twitter game?
I don't remember. I have to read it.
It was what am I going to get for my new friend Kim Shimke?
Friend is in
for
quotations.
Christmas? Yes.
It should be.
Oh, right.
Yes.
I don't know. I had a friend tie my friendship bracelet for me. Her name was Kim.
I want to cut your hand off just to remove that bracelet.
I hate you.
Go ahead, Bev. Give me the top entries only. I don't want to hear all of them.
I'm not giving you all of them.
I want to hear the funny ones.
A one-way ticket to the North Pole to meet Santa. One
Right,
way.
that's the reason. To meet Santa.
I want the funny ones.
I thought that was funny. It's one way. Whatever.
All right. You also watch Pitch Perfect, so.
Ugh.
You're rude.
Go ahead.
This is an actual link. It's a best friends keychain. It says sisters, not sisters by blood, but sisters by heart.
Gross.
A variety pack of 4 Loco and a roll of Gorilla Tape.
Oh, that sounds like a good time.
Okay, all right.
They get real sexual, so I'm trying to skip those ones.
Bev, pick the funny ones.
That's why we're having you read that.
Have you ever heard the show before?
A 55-gallon drum of lube. Passion Lube's natural water-based lubricant.
55. See, that's funny. 55 gallons of lube. All right.
And Amazon Prime, it would be free shipping.
Correct.
It's perfect.
What do you do with that much lube? I guess have a good time in perpetuity.
I don't know. It's not my problem.
All right.
Okay, last one. I didn't say their names, but whatever.
That's fine.
A fake beard, then all he needs to do is get a strap-on from Adam and Eve. So when his wife starts asking for a baby, Kim can jump in.
That's too much. That's too
Kim
confusing.
can jump in and take the bullet like a true friend.
I don't even understand
The
that.
character living on Twitter is too much now. You delete that one.
When Candy wants to have a baby, Kim would be the stand-in with the fake beard.
Because she has a fake beard.
And strap-on.
I don't like that one.
Okay,
Are there
fine.
any other ones than just the
No.
two? Really? I feel like you're lying to me.
She's probably lying.
Oh, wait. One more came through.
She's
The
worried.
Idiot's Guide to Reporting Sexual Misconduct.
See?
There you go.
Oh, that one almost got lost.
Right.
What a gem.
I feel like there's probably other good ones.
I think so, too. This is the problem.
I will go back and I will read all of them if you want me to.
When we have an unfunny person
Oh, you're such
trying
a
to
dick.
determine what's funny. Do you hear a loud buzzing here? Let me try to fix that loud buzzing. It's so much better. Okay, thank you very much, Bev. Now you're gonna have to tell me who won. So the 3 I wrote down, which I'm sure there were myriad more. The sisters keychain
I
or
laughed
whatever.
out loud for that one.
I think that's a good
really
one
fun.
too.
Yeah.
The 55 gallons of lube is pretty good too. I thought it was funny. Don't roll your eyes at that. It's a good joke. And then the Idiot's Guide to Not Promoting. What is it?
Reporting sexual misconduct.
I think my version was fine too. Don't promote it. Don't promote it. That's what this show does, and it probably shouldn't have done it, but now it does.
Hashtag.
No, we stopped.
We can't-
Thank you,
oh,
Tasty.
oh, we did stop.
We've
We did stop,
elevated.
did we? Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm actually playing
When's the last
footsie
time
with.
we did that's what she said, Joe.
All right,
heard that
right.
lately?
I agree. I'm playing footsie with Warren right now, though. So who's to say,
Well,
really?
And that's just conduct, not misconduct.
Well, it's just sexual conduct.
Right, yeah.
Right. It's only misconduct if. I don't know.
We're just misters.
Right.
So it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm the one that's not funny.
So,
You're better.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I think the sisters in our hearts. What
I'm
was
a
that
fan
one?
of sisters. Yeah.
I agree.
What was that one? Read it. The sisters
Oh,
one.
it was a keychain, and it's in the shape of a heart, and it says not sisters by blood, but sisters by heart.
I think that's good. I think that should. That's my vote.
I'm in there too.
Does anybody else want to vote for anything
I
else?
would vote. I vote for the book.
Mike
votes for the book.
Oh,
shit! Now it's a draw.
It's
Nate,
tied.
you gotta weigh in, bro. You're the tiebreaker, Holmes. You are
no
John
good
McClane.
one. There's no good content.
Or no, John McClane. He's not the senator.
You should go to overtime.
You gotta pick.
I can't do it.
You have
Our
to.
guests have to help us.
All right.
Our wonderful guests have to help us.
I really liked the one-way ticket to the North Pole.
So did I.
Oh.
That was great. I vote with
Are
him.
you serious?
Me and Noah.
That's not even an option.
Right.
I vote with Noah.
We're not in the finals.
So now it is.
Wait a minute.
It's a
Right.
three-way
So
tie.
now we have a three-way tie.
So
Instead
now
of a solution.
Hester, what do you think?
Yeah, Hester, you got to be the tiebreaker.
I agreed with Nate. So
That there's nothing
I don't
good?
know, man.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the tiebreaker here.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's got.
Nate,
you're in the room.
You have to do it, homie.
Oh, North Pole.
God damn it!
Really?
All right, who won that?
We have a winner.
Bev, who was that?
That was Jeff Angle.
Jeff, you are unfunny.
Go, Jeff.
Jeff, well done.
But you are a winner.
We love you.
And we apologize to all the other people that probably had good answers.
Yeah. We will never let Bev do this again.
I only skipped like one, and it was very inappropriate.
What was it?
No.
Just even like...
It was the link to an over-the-door sex swing.
That's funny.
No, it's not. It's rude and gross and degrading.
You're right. No, I'm sorry. You're right. What was that link, though? Can you forward that?
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll forward it to you.
God, I
What if it
hate you
comes?
guys
What if it
so
comes
much.
with the book?
What if it comes with a person?
Misconduct.
Hi, I'm here to deliver your swing and live in it until you're ready to... You know what's not misconduct, but actual conduct that you are encouraging?
What?
Adam and Eve. They're determined to help you spice things up in the bedroom, and they're backing up that promise. Go to adamandeve.com, and you'll get 50% off almost any item when you enter offer. I should make Noah read this.
Yes, you should have.
Noah, do you want to read?
Times, but
do you want to read the Adam and Eve live read, my friend?
I don't want to, but I will.
Well, only if you want to, because it's only fun if it's consensual.
Consent is sexy.
Right. You don't have to. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I get it. You're on the. It's cool. Don't worry about it. So you enter code BNARMY and you get 50% off almost any item at checkout, and then you'll get the free Big O kit, which is I hear Mike's favorite kit. It's you get a Climax gel and a mini vibrator. So it's amazing stuff here, everybody.
Can they deliver in time for Christmas?
Oh yeah,
that's a good question. I don't know that.
They should know this.
I probably should know this. I don't know that. I would say I would doubt it. Because Christmas is
right.
like,
it's like tomorrow.
There's only 4 or 5 shipping days.
I think Christmas already happened. I don't actually know.
Oh,
I think it did.
Well, Happy New Year.
Yeah. So you get a new adult toy at 50% off. You can pick a movie or anything else, whatever you want to do. You can choose that item. You get free shipping plus the kit, which includes the gel and the little thing. You won't find it anywhere else. It's on the Brewing Network because we push a lot of sex toys. So use offer code BNARMY at checkout. At adamandeve.com, that's BNARMY. And then following that, I forgot to tell you guys about the How to Brew. How to Brew is back. It's expanded. Old John Palmer there's
Mr. Palmer himself?
I think he added like 100 new chapters or something like that. I think he added an extra letter in the alphabet to write this much about homebrewing.
He expanded the periodic table of water.
He really did, and he's a good dude. So check it out. Brewers Publications is putting that out. How to Brew. If you thought you knew everything about all of the brewing, you don't, because John Palmer is here to tell you, actually, that's incorrect. That's my John Palmer impression.
It sounded just like John Palmer was here.
No, okay. Well, I liked it. All right, everybody. We are finally out of here. This has been the final show of 2017. We are not going to be back in the studio, or at least for this show, until Monday, January 15th, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We're going to have Seismic Brewing in the studio. I always like in-studio guests, so that's going to be a good time. And... do we have a Heads and Tails recording before then?
Yes. Don't we have Rogue?
We do. We have Rogue Spirits on our Heads and Tails podcast, which will be Tuesday the 2nd, Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about to Rogue Spirits. You have 3 spirits to try. And that whole podcast should be releasing at some point.
In January.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think it might be even up to us. I have no idea.
Wow, we get to decide?
Maybe.
Oh.
Hopefully we'll do it right.
Yes.
Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for sticking with us. And, I don't know. Have a good rest of the year, I guess.